Mullins is going to have to make, or at least continue to take the threes, but he's been really good getting to the basket, even the floaters. His three-point game has deserted him for right now, but he is getting opportunities. Wilkins crossover dribble on Mullins, and Mullins knocked the ball away. A steal for UConn, back the other way. Malachi Smith throws it to the side, and House deflecting it over the sideline. But Dan Hurley's going to take his use it or lose it timeout. With the shot clock turned off and 14.8 seconds to go in the half, and trying to design one play for the final shot. Furman had some opportunities to have a couple good possessions. They've all led to turnovers. All the momentum headed the way of Connecticut. You can stream every Westwood One basketball game for free, sponsored by LinkedIn Ads. Stop wasting ad budget on the wrong audience. LinkedIn Ads puts your message in front of the right decision makers. Spend $250, get $250. Go to linkedin.com/college basketball. Terms apply. For a live stream, go to westwoodonesports.com or download the Westwood One Sports app today. The winner gets UCLA in the East region here on Sunday.
Question will be, which UCLA team do they get? Do they get a Tyler Bilodeau team? Because that's a game changer when you look at the performance so far of Terrace Reed.
Well, they will need him in a game like this one.
Jamerson may have long arms, but I don't think that's going to help him.
Bilodeau missed tonight's game. UCLA won it anyway over UCF in a tightly contested game. The Bruins winning by 4. I was trying to set the inbound and exactly where this inbound will be thrown from. It's right in front of the Furman bench. Along the sideline near the baseline. Caravan throws all the way into the backcourt. Now Malachi Smith will start the offensive set. There's Mullins. Wants a three. Shot no good. Tap rebound controlled by Furman. 6 seconds left in the half. Here comes Vanderwall. Dishing it off for Johnson and a three. He got it! Right before halftime. Charles Johnson drills the three ball from the right side, and Furman is within 4 at the break.
Charles Johnson has that ability. He can space the floor. They can play 5 out, not in. That may be the answer in the second half, so long as they can control the basketball around the perimeter.
How about that? We still have a game 20 minutes in 2 versus 15. Our halftime score, UConn 40, Furman 36. From the return, we'll head back to our studios for the halftime report. From the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, this is the men's basketball tournament.
Town Fair Tire has the area's largest selection of Toyo tires. Sells them all at the guaranteed lowest price, offers more free services for life than anywhere else, and Town Fair has well over 100 locations throughout New England and New York. The area's largest inventory of Toyo tires at the guaranteed lowest price, more locations, and the most free services for life. So for your next set of Toyo tires, remember, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Name brands and discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
The Chasing Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Inc. Business Premier Card. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
There's a difference between liking a
I had
house
an update
and
over there.
actually
All right,
getting
I see
it.
Chicopee you on already.
It's built to make up
Yeah.
for
I decided to
finding and owning.
Now I finished picking up over here. I had to hang up some socks and stuff, so I'm good now. So anyway, we're just gonna listen to we're gonna listen to 660 and all that. Right now, there's a game going on, and then I want to see I want to hear when they shut down. So I want to get that on video when they shut down at midnight, and then hopefully something will come in. But if it don't come in right away, you got to keep checking. Like check back in about another hour or so, because remember, we're in the Eastern time zone, and the Calgary station is in I think Mountain Time. but we might get something local right away. I don't know. I'm hoping we don't. I'm hoping we get something far. And then of course the Arizona station, that's on the I think Pacific time, so that's on the West Coast. I don't think we're gonna get Arizona. I'm hoping for Calgary because that's 50,000 watts. Unless we get something local, which will kind of suck. I looked at a few of them. There's not that actually. When you go to Radio Locator, there's not that many stations on 660. It's not a lot of stations because a clear channel frequency. It's a clear channel station. Now, 50,000 watts, there's 3 stations. 2 of them in the United States. It's 2 of them in the United States and 1 in Canada. Okay, so I'm hoping when the WFAN shuts off for a couple of hours, whatever it is, I would love to get Calgary. But let's see. And I have this one connected to the U loop. It's pointing west. And on my FMDX web server, I have the mini one hooked up. That one is connected to the MFJ 1886 loop. Only to the I disconnected all the other antennas. Only the MFJ 1886 loop. So if anybody want to try tuning there later on and see if maybe somebody can get it over there. MFJ 1886 and make a video out of it. I don't know. But let's hope. Let's see what we get tonight. Let's see. Good evening, Tasso. Good evening to Radio 922. And hello, Chicopee. Unless some of the 660 day timers forgot to sign off. Oh, let's see what happens. When I saw this post, I say, man, I don't want to miss this one. I missed the 770 one last time. What's the last 770, right? Which is the one I went off that anyway, I say I ain't missing this one. So I'm ready. So let it play. So basketball game going on. I'm not doing no Dr. Sky tonight, so none of that. We're just gonna focus on 660. I know Tasso mentioned 880. So we're going to check on both. We're going to check on 660 and we're going to check on 880. And, of course, I'm going to tune the band. But I really want to see 660. Now, also 660, it might be Cuba. Which I heard Cuba enough. Because I know when I was in Florida, at night, 660 was Progresso. It was coming in strong. So, Oh yeah, that's right. You got Rebelled on 770. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, because Rebelled is on 770. Because down there at night, that's what I hear. When I was in Florida, I was picking up Rebelde there on 770, and then during the daytime, it was a local station. WABC sometimes made it a little bit during the day, or the twilight hours, whatever you call it, twilight. But late night, it will be Rebelde coming, boom, boom, booming. But I'm hoping we get Calgary. So there's a new station, 50,000 watts, CFFR, Calgary, Alberta. I'm hoping we get Calgary. Cross your fingers. No Cuba, please. No, Calgary. Let's go, Calgary. Let's go, Calgary. That will be a new province for me. That will be a new province for me if I get Calgary. Because Arizona is not going to happen. That's way out there. Well, you never know. Navajo Nation.
One more shot coming. Missed it.
Is it? Is it really? Calgary's further out than Window Rock or Arizona? I don't know. Wow, yeah. I mean, Calgary, Alberta, Alberta is out there. Yeah, Alberta's Western Canada. Yeah, that's right. Wow, yeah. I'm keep thinking of Manitoba. Manitoba is yeah, that's the province that's in the central. Yeah, that's right. Calgary is on the west coast almost. Wow, that's right. It's like the Rocky Mountain type thing, right? Somewhere. Yeah. Oh, well, let's see. Okay, 100 miles. Yeah, over 2,000. But let's see. Let's see. We never know. We never know. You never know. Propagation gods. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. That's good. Thank you for putting that up. So Calgary is further out than Window Rock, Arizona. Wow. And I got the Yulu pointing west because that's why I was pointed west. The MFJ is pointing west. I'm hoping we get something. I'm hoping we get something.
Where the foul was, not the clean strip of the basket.
Anderson at the line shoots just 59%.
Okay, it's directional and I to protect WFAN.
His team up by 2. High arcing shot. Hits no good off the
Let's see what we get.
Miami just 4 for
Let's see what we get.
free throw line. Introducing Rumble Shorts.
I got my other phone right here ready to record. So I got this one live and I got this one over here next to it. Ready to record. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
34-32, Mizzou to the basket. Robinson walks it into front court.
And the FMDX server set up. So you can go there. You can tune there. Let's go. Let's go.
Wide open three, doesn't want it. Drive to the elbow. Puts the pass across.
Let's go.
Turnover. Barrett
I got the Kidosin over here. I got the Kidosin over here on the other side, but
Mitchell just
this one.
very tentative.
I got faith in this one.
Not in attack mode. Still field goalless in this game. He's got
Problem with the Kidosin.
where he scored 4, but he's seen.
Problem with the Kidosin is that light. That light right there. You see that light? This light right here? I put that light on, the Kidosin gets noisy. It's very sensitive. Same thing with the mini TF66. It's very You want me to admin lock it? All right, I go. All right, yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Admin lock it. All right, I got you. I'm gonna go there right now.
On the arc. 37-32. He's right in front of his teammates in the Miami bench as he shot that one.
All right, yeah, you know what? Good idea. I'm gonna lock it.
Get a shot. Flips it over to Burns, who's checked in for Phillips. Down to Mitchell on the left baseline. Mitchell comes into the block, picks up his dribble, throws it out to Stone. 9 to shoot. Stone at 6, puts it between his legs. Goes down the lane, angles right, gets fouled. 15:50 left to play. That's going to get us to a timeout. The foul is on Allen. First personal of the game on him. 2.5 on Miami. Timeout on the floor. Our score, Miami 37, Missouri 32 from Westwood One in the NCAA Radio Network. This is the men's basketball tournament.
After my father was on a ventilator for 20 days due to COVID, he had so many medications. It really was daunting.
According to the National Institutes of Health, 30% of hospital admissions in older adults are drug-related, like taking meds at the wrong time. Hero simplifies medication management.
I'm so thankful that something like this exists. It holds up to 10 different medications. It's all on an app, and you can share that app with a caregiver, so I can make sure that he got his meds. Is he missing a dose of his meds?
Hero Health's smart pill dispenser alerts and delivers pills with the push of a button.
It is really so easy to use and a literal lifesaver.
Try Hero Health risk-free for 30 days. Get free contactless delivery. Call 800-420-7550. 800-420-7550. That's 800-420-7550.
You already sent the party hat. Oh, thank you. Wow. Thank you for the gift. Yeah, I locked it, Tasso. Somebody was listening from LA. has I didn't boot them. I just locked it, put 660 on. Anyway, you got the admin pass, bro. So, but anyway, yeah, just I better lock it. Just so, that way you guys can listen to it, make a video, whatever. And then anyway, I'll leave it like that for now. It's locked. All right, cool. Thank you, T-Rated for the gift, for the party hat.
Grabs the water bottle and shuts the door with his elbow and
Let me put it like that. I don't want to put too loud because it's a game I don't care about. It's just
he even turned off the light. That's the way you
so when you gonna wait? Hang out.
Stand Up to Cancer and Round wants you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
Furnished by Stand Up to Cancer.
All Tournament Long Westwood 1 and the Varsity Network bring you the action all the way to Indianapolis. For your team's calls, stream it exclusively on the free Varsity Network app. Download it today. Tom Leach, Jordan Tourette, courtside here in St. Louis. Missouri had the worst turnover rate in the SEC. Only had 5 in the first half, but 3 already in the first 4 minutes.
Hanging up over here. I need to make room.
And it's been disruptive to a rhythm. They came out here, a couple consecutive field goals. You got Phillips at 7 feet lingering around the rim. You get 2 at the rim.
Nah, I just heard it from you guys. I didn't go.
Find a rhythm for the first time. Meanwhile, this Miami team.
Yeah. T-Rated, I didn't know you could send gift. Yeah, only through vertical live stream. It's been like that for a few weeks now. Yeah. Only vertical live stream. Yeah, when you're on the phone. Because Todd sent me a couple of rubies. No, it's only on the phone and vertical live stream. I believe that's it. Not on the computer. Yeah, only super chat on the computer. But I guess eventually they're trying to encourage more people to use like TikTok. They want you to go this. Maybe they'll incorporate it eventually in the regular way. But right now it's only vertical, and you got to be on your phone or something.
Always good. Couple of big hoops of late by Donaldson, who sticks out his tongue as he comes back up. You got to have a celebration after every conversion. 39-30.
Yeah, because I see the gift thing up there. It says 10. See that it got like a little ruby? You got like a little ruby up there, and it says 10. So he sent the party hat, so I guess it counts as 10 rubies.
Elevated and buried it. Came up the dribble handoff for Mitchell.
You know, like TikTok, you have to buy them. Oh, okay, I got 50 Jews for free. I guess the first 50 Jew purchase is free. And then 90. Oh, okay. Nice. Okay, see, I didn't know about that. That's cool. All right, so you got 50 Jews free. And then it's like TikTok. You know, you buy the coins. And then, by the way, Chickabee's in there. If anybody can give a membership, even if you can give memberships, by the way, you know that, right? So I could get it up to 9 people. No, I can't. I tried it. I don't know if I can. I don't think I can. I tried it. I don't know how to do that. I tried it before. I don't think I can. But you guys can. And it's like a 1 month trial. The reason why I want that because I want to make it to that number where I can get more emojis. So I'm like one away from the emoji threshold. Because I'm not limited to the ones you see, but I think I get to the next tier. So if anybody can give anybody a membership, I don't care who it is. Just give them a membership. Anybody, whoever's in there. I can't do it. I wish I could do it. I would have been done it. Because I don't know how to do that. I got to figure out how to do that. Because I know you told me last time I could do it, but I was like, how to do it? I don't know. That's why. I don't know. Just, because I just got to hit that number. It is a membership. It does count as a member, but it's a gift membership. You're just not paying. And then it only lasts for 30 days and it expires. I think I know somebody had a gift membership before and actually counted on the members, I think. But it's a gift membership. It's not like, and then he could renew it if he want. I think that's what happens. Anyway, if you could do it, anybody can do it, that's fine. If not, hopefully somebody will sign again or something. I don't know. I don't know. You don't think they count those? Okay. All right. Anyway, I don't know. But I would like to get to that point. They only offer the $6.99 tier gift membership, helping hand. Okay. Yeah, I know. I don't think it's every level. I think it's like not. It's not. I forgot. I think it's like one of. Anyway, it's okay. If anybody can, if not, it's okay. But I just want to put it out there because I forgot to mention it before. So no biggie. Don't worry about it. At some point, hopefully somebody will. I just need like one more. I think one more, or is it one more or two more? I know right now it's 8. It's 8 members, but I don't know if it's one more or two more for the emojis. Yeah. Anyway, no, don't worry about it. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. But yeah, let me see what time it is. Let me check over here on this one. Okay, 11:42. 11:42. All right.
Was a kiss to the crowd. 43-41. Miami's lead cut to 2. Big game for Stone. He's got 18. 12:43 to play. Keeps this Missouri partisan crowd engaged.
Anyway, let me listen to the game.
The timeline is right deep sneakers. They get it left side to Henderson. Henderson at the top. Fires a pass to the left corner to Renew. Backing his way down. They double him in that left corner. Throws it out to Allen. Cross court Henderson. Wide open 3. Right wing. No good. Rebound tapped out.
Yeah, I know. It looks like the game.
Back to Henderson.
It looks like it's gonna sign off before the game ends because right now, it's.
A couple of plays there by Renew with the tip out and then the 3 up the right wing. 46-41 Miami. The inability to defensive rebound continues to plague these Tigers. Mitchell off the right elbow, gets into the paint. All the way jump hook goes in. His first basket of the night as he hits the deck. 46-43. Miami with the lead in the ball. That last three-pointer off the second chance. 17 second chance points now for Miami. Renew working up the right baseline. Feeds it into the paint to Allen. Floater comes off no good. Burns rips off the rebound. Uday pushed him from behind. Timeout on the floor. 11:36 to play. Good one here in St. Louis to wrap up day 2 of the NCAA tournament. First round action. It is 46-43. Miami leading Missouri. You're listening to the
46-43 with 11 minutes. Wow, that's a low-scoring game. Wow. Yeah, so at this point, is they're gonna probably cut off that game.
Gives you a close, comfortable shave at a trusted value.
Oh, hello, Alfredino.
On the court, every possession counts.
Hope you're doing well, Alfredino.
But too many businesses are still guessing what's making the phone ring and what's a waste of money. CallRail turns that guesswork into a winning game plan by showing you exactly what marketing drove every call, text, and form fill. CallRail's AI assistant can even answer calls 24/7, book appointments, and keep leads from calling the competition so you never miss your shot. That's why over 225,000 businesses trust CallRail. Stop guessing and start winning. Try it free at callrail.com.
Hi, this is Sarah at the Department of Rejected Dreams. If you had a dream rejected, IKEA can make it possible.
I've been dreaming of hosting a big dinner party, but I don't have enough plates.
Oh, that's easy. Or bowls, or cups, or chairs. So you need more everything. Well, IKEA
IKEA has all your dining needs, from dinnerware and utensils to full dining sets.
Wow, everything but the kitchen sink.
Actually, we have those too. Get everything your dream kitchen needs at a price you didn't dream possible. In-store or online at ikea.us/dreamkitchen. Dream the possibilities.
What's the impact of hiring the right person for the job? Someone who simply doesn't fill a role but elevates it. Indeed, sponsored jobs can help you connect with candidates who have the right experience and a proven track record. Find people who don't just complete tasks, they transform how work gets done. Don't leave hiring to chance. Sponsor your job posting on Indeed and match with the right candidates. Sponsor your job at Indeed.com/credit.
Why pay more for a great shave? Choose Barbasol, America's #1 brand of shaving cream. Barbasol's instant thick lather gives you a close, comfortable shave at a trusted value. Barbasol.
Yeah, Tash, it's a good thing you told me to lock the server, because I would hate for somebody to be changing the dial as the station powers down and somebody's recording him. Oh, that would suck. I didn't think about that. I forgot. So thank you for saying that. And lock the server. That way you guys can just listen to it and then record it, and then, because I know somebody would have went in there, put it on KTU or something. Oh, 106.7. Good Lord. So thank you. Oh my God. That would have been horrible to record.
Peterson, they lead Cal back to 64-42. About to get going in the second half in Philly, UConn, and Furman. It's a 4-point lead for the 2 seed in the East Regional. But Nick, let's get you back to St. Louis. Your thoughts here. Miami's heating up a little bit, but so too is Missouri.
Yeah, this game's intense. I think the crowd is playing a factor in that. It's physical. I think Trey Donaldson has to lead the way for Miami. He's the experienced guy. He's got 8 points. He got in foul trouble in the first half, which somewhat disjointed the Hurricanes. But both teams mixing in zone. Going to have to make some perimeter shots.
Jay Lucas in his first year with the Canes. They're in a tight one against Dennis Gates and the Tigers. Back to St. Louis. Tom Leach and Jordan Cornette.
Here's had a look, but a quick closeout by Allen for Miami denied the 3 opportunity.
And Miami is thriving on the backboard. Mizzou is staring in the face. 17-2 deficit in terms of second chance points given up to the Canes. And still in it.
Comes into Stone, gives it back to Barrett. Barrett dribbles all the way over to the right side, works his way down the lane. Curtis throws it out to Stone. This piece of a Harris pass. Stone's got it, middle of the floor, 10 to shoot. Driving, backs out, left wing, 3, no good. Rebound to Cruz on the right baseline. Drops it off to Barrett, puts it up, missed it, tapped up, no good. Another tap, no good. It's rebounded by Renew. Multiple opportunities to cut it to 1. Miami's got the ball up 3, 46-43 as we go into 11 to play. Donaldson off a screen, moves it over to the right side, can't get into the lane, throws it back to Dovrat, misses a 3 straight away, and it's rebounded.
11 minutes.
Mizzou going back the other way.
11:49
on
now.
left side. Pierce standing, dribbling, throws it out to Phillips. Phillips dribbles once, hands it to Barrett. Barrett, double team on the left side. Pierce throws it out to Pierce, juggles it, gathers it in, driving left of the lane, jump stop on the baseline, goes up, shots blocked, and it's taken off by Allen. I think it was Renew that got the block. Allen sprinting the other way, fires a pass to the left side. Dovrat's 3, good off the left wing. Catch and shoot 3, and on Dovrat. 49-43, biggest lead of the half for Miami. Timeout for Missouri with 10:13 to play. At the rim, Missouri struggling to convert, and Miami gets a 3 in transition.
Yeah, they're going to cut off this game.
10:13 left to play in our game. It's
This game is not going to make it to that.
Missouri. You're listening to the men's basketball tournament on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Sky Rizzy to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Sky Rizzy, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Sky Rizzy. Serious allergic reactions and
By the way, how's the audio? I'm going to put it at a certain level, and then I'm going to leave it there. So I'm going to put it now, like, let me see.
Doctor, if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
I hope that's
With
good.
Sky Rizzy, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Sky Rizzy today and visit SkyRizzy.com or call
get ready to record.
866-SKY-RIZZY to learn more.
I'm getting ready now, too. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to shut my mouth in about...
Open your textbook.
Yeah, I'm going to shut my mouth in about 2 minutes before the hour. I'm going to shut up for a while.
NCAA men's ice hockey meet.
I'm going to record this too.
27th and 29th in Albany.
I'm not in the live, but I'm going to record on another phone.
Passion is mandatory. Buy yours
Behind there, I'm going to record it. All right, audio is good. Okay, thank you.
I'll be there, Professor.
I'll see you on the ice.
The way we watch video is changing. Shorter, faster, always moving. Introducing Rumble Shorts. Rumble's home for short-form video. A swipeable feed of short vertical videos designed to keep discovery moving. Watch, swipe, discover new creators. Follow the voices you care about. Support them directly with tips through Rumble Wallet. Short-form video the way audiences expect it, while staying true to Rumble's vision of free speech. Rumble Shorts. Discover more. Support creators. Keep the conversation open.
Check the schedule of games coming up, sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Every now and then you find a deal where you get more and pay less. That's a good deal. That's Straight Talk Wireless on Verizon's 5G network. Find it exclusively at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Coming up on Sunday here in St. Louis, it will be a doubleheader. Second seed Iowa State, 7th seed Kentucky, 2nd seed Purdue against the winner of this game. Number 7 seed Miami and the 10th seeded Missouri Tigers. We don't have any tip times for Sunday yet. Just a full day around 32 action coming up around the country tomorrow. And by Sunday night, we'll have the Sweet 16 set. 49-43 Miami, 10-13 left to play. Stone will inbound the ball over on the far side. Standing just down from first Dennis Gates. Plays it into Robinson. We've got Mitchell back in. He's got it. Left of the circle, out beyond the arc. Starts moving forward, angles into the lane, throws it over to Robinson. His three, it's good! Big shot.
Yeah, everybody, go get ready to record, everybody. Go.
30% three-point shooter.
Hey, come back later.
A couple of long ones tonight. 49-46 Miami. Donaldson, double teamed out front, keeps his dribble though as Phillips knocks it away. Over to the drop, turns down the three, drives down the lane, cut off, stolen away by Robinson. Robinson, bounce pass right side to Stone. Stone comes through the lane, angles left, puts it in, got fouled. He'll go to the line for a chance to tie the score here in St. Louis.
Defensive stops, allowing for transition opportunities for an offense that looks wildly different and more efficient here in the second half.
Second turnover in this second half for Miami. The foul was on Donaldson. It's his third. Dovrat goes out. Renew back in. Allen going out. Burns is ready to come in for Missouri, but they sent him back and brings in Pierce instead. Phillips will get a breather. Phillips been able to play this whole second half without picking up a fourth foul yet. Gates stops him to talk to him a little bit. Stone at the line, looking to tie the score. He does. 21 for Stone, 49-49 with 9:36 left. Fourth tie tonight. Miami's led for over 26 minutes of this game. Missouri for 19 seconds. Renew gives it left side to Henderson. Bounce pass to Washington. Open. Three ball. No good. Out of the right corner. Robinson claims the rebound. Throws it ahead to Pierce. Pierce goes for the basket, and it's knocked away from behind and out of bounds. He had it cocked with that right hand to throw it down for the lead, but he'll have to get the lead at the line.
And they're going to debate whether they should go look at this in the monitor, and there's no reason to. That was a play from Henderson on the basketball. It was just a sharp drive from Pierce, so he fell hard. I think they're going to take a look, but this should be a quick determination that it was a play on the basketball.
Sometimes it's just the force of one guy making the block going the other direction.
That's exactly what it was.
Excellent effort by Henderson.
Pierce went very strong to the glass, and because that ball, a play was made on the ball, he was vulnerable and fell hard.
Under review. They're going to Let's take a look at this. We don't think it'll be anything more than a two-shot foul coming up for Pierce. This is the Miami team that is in its 13th NCAA tournament. Missouri playing in its 31st overall. Only 4 berths and 1 victory in the last 11 tournaments for Missouri.
No upgrade to a play to 1. It's personal foul, 2 shots for Missouri.
Well, that was about as quick as any review you'll see. Missouri with 31 appearances in this tournament, second most for any program without getting to a Final Four.
Great deal of respect for this officiating crew. Understanding we got great energy here.
Yeah.
In what's been a 4-day offering, let's keep the good times rolling. Let's get back to the action. Wasting no time at the bottom.
49-49, 9:15 to play. Pierce at the line, 16 of 22 on the season. With some time in the first third of the season. Free throw good. And Mizzou with its first lead since 2-0 in the first minute of the game.
How about it?
Both of these teams have just battled through some poor shooting. With shaky ball handling at times. More so Missouri than Miami. Here's the second one. Perfect. 51-49, Missouri in front. Fans and the players on the Missouri bench come to their feet. As Donaldson walks it across the line for Miami. One-hand pass to his right. It's the back to Donaldson. 9 minutes to play. Henderson deep on the left side. Holds it above his head. That moves to work off the dribble. There's a one-handed pass to Washington on the right side. Back across to Donaldson. 3-ball left wing. Good! Big time shot for Donaldson. Miami back in front, 52-51.
Donaldson, just an understanding of the moment when it calls for him to step up and make a shot. And he takes the big ones.
Miami 8 of 21 at the three-point line. Mitchell driving right baseline. Cut off. He shoots up his dribble, throws it out to Robinson. 14 to shoot. Robinson started to drive. Cut off, backs out. Lobs it into the lane. Mitchell makes the catch. Turns, flips it up off the glass. No good. Battling for his own rebound, but Uday wins the fight. Comes out with the ball. Robinson didn't really get set and shot off balance. Donaldson down the left side. Cut off. Doubles the pass out to Renew. Donaldson gets it back. Off to Renew. The pick and roll. Spins into the lane. Shoots over Phillips. Missed everything. And Phillips, who contested the shot, rebounds the miss. Good defense by Missouri. Robinson racing through the defense. Gets into the lane. Floats it over in the corner to Pierce. Pierce buried in that left corner. Diagonal pass to Mitchell. Straight away 3-ball. Good! For Mitchell. Missouri back in front. 54-52. Well, he's been turning down open threes all night. He didn't hesitate at all, Jordan. Timeout, Miami. 7 minutes, 39 seconds left to play. Mitchell shoots Mizzou back into the lead. 54-52. You're listening to the men's basketball tournament on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
Don't waste your B2B marketing on the wrong people. With LinkedIn ads, you reach the right professionals where they already are. LinkedIn has a network of over 1 billion professionals. You can target your buyers by job title, industry, company, and more. That means no wasted shots, just buzzer beaters. Spend $250 on your first LinkedIn ads campaign and get a $250 credit for the next one. Go to linkedin.com/college basketball. That's linkedin.com/college basketball. Terms and conditions apply. On the court, every possession counts. In business, it's every lead. But too many businesses are still guessing what's making the phone ring and what's a waste of money. CallRail turns that guesswork into a winning game plan by showing you exactly what marketing drove every call, text, and form fill. CallRail's AI assistant can even answer calls 24/7, book appointments, and keep leads from calling the competition so you never miss your shot. That's why over 225,000 businesses trust CallRail. Stop guessing and start winning. Try it free at callrail.com.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
Defense wins championships. Everybody knows that. And when it comes to your car, you need championship-level defense against surprise repair cost. Check engine light? Transmission trouble? Don't let it run up the score on you. With CarShield, you can get help with cover repairs so you're not stuck paying out of pocket. Play smart. Protect your ride with championship defense. CarShield. Keep your budget in the game. Learn more at carshield.com. carshield.com.
54-52, the 10 seed in the West, Missouri leading Miami. Purdue waiting on Sundays. We welcome you back in our studios. 7:39 to go. We'll get you back to St. Louis in a moment. Want to let you know what else is going on in the tournament. Sponsored by Upside. Stop overpaying for gas. Download the free Upside app. Use promo code SCORE to earn cash back on the gas you buy. Yep, you can earn cash back on every gallon of gas you buy. Download the Upside app now and use promo code SCORE for a limited 25 cents per gallon back on your first tank. The second half, UConn, who only led by 4 at the half, has pushed it to 9, 56-47. There again, one heck of a performance from Karis Reed, who has 23 and 17 with 14 and a half to go, but the 2 seed only up by 9. Furman has pushed them the whole way. Meanwhile, it probably, maybe too little too late for Cal Baptist. They trailed Kansas by 26, but they've gone on a run here, a little 12-2 run. They're down by just 13, but only 3.5 to play. We're going to get Nick's take on what's going on in a second, but first we pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network, your home for the national championships.
Your home for Boomerang Geo, mornings from 6 to 10. WFAN, WFAN FM, WFAN FM HD1, New York.
All right, Nick, Bob, bring you back in here. Let's get your take on Furman and UConn. There has been no answer for Karis Reed, but nobody else playing well for the Huskies.
And that's exactly the mindset that Furman has to have. This is easier said than done, but Karis Reed is rolling 23 points, 10 for 11 from the floor, and UConn's dominating the paint, 38 points in the paint. You got to do anything you can to keep that ball out of the paint, build a wall, and force UConn to beat you from the perimeter, because they're cold right now, 3 of 17 from beyond the arc. If you can force some jump shots, maybe you can hang around and find a way to put some real game pressure on the Huskies.
All right, it's a 13-point game in San Diego. Cal Baptist is at the free throw line. Dom Daniels, their leading scorer, who averages 20 a game, has 16 of his 20 in the second half. If that game gets inside of 10, we'll take you out to San Diego. You can listen right now on the Westwood One Sports app. But let's get you back to St. Louis. It's a 2-point Missouri game, 7:23 to go. Tom Leach and Jordan Cornette.
4% shooter. Still a points in the game. Has the bucket. Perfect with the shot. He's 2 out of 3 tonight at the line. Washington with 1 shot to tie. It's good. 54-54, 7:23 to play. Robinson will bring it up from backcourt for Missouri. Washington there to meet him as he comes across the line. Plays the pass over to Mitchell out deep on the left side. Mitchell goes to the lane, to his right, jump stop on the right block, pivots back to his left, drops it off to Phillips, who puts it up and missed it at point-blank range, and Miami comes out with it. Donaldson comes across the line. Moves down the sideline, then back to the middle, feeds Renew on the pick and roll. He's got it left of the lane, working against the smaller Stone, backs him down, puts it up, and it goes in. Crawled over that left part of the basket on the left baseline. Renew going to work, gets the bucket, 56-54 Miami.
Had a distinct size advantage with Stone defending on the interior. Knew not to waste time. Just go right at his chin.
Good basketball IQ play there. Here's Mitchell at the top, driving right side of the lane, pivots into a defender, and the ball's taken away by Renew. He was going against 3 defenders. Coach King's protesting. He wanted a foul call. 6:20 to play. Miami's retaking the lead, 56-54. Donaldson dribbling in the middle of the floor between the circles. Left hand to right. Starts off to his right. Goes down the lane. Turns, throws it out to Renew. Open 3 from the top is good. Renew gets the big shots in the second half, and Missouri takes a timeout. 4 to play. Miami has moved back out in front. 59-52. 59-54 with a 7-0 run. Missouri taking a 54-52 lead.
Time and time again, when the moment calls for it, it's been a 3-point shot from a Donaldson, from a Renew. A lot of guys stepping up and making timely threes for this Miami group. 9 of 22 from beyond the arc, shooting 40%. Even better in the second half, 5 of 10 from beyond the arc.
We talked about this
I think at halftime.
So we're going to pull you out of St. Louis. We told you if it's within 10, we're taking it to San Diego. It's within 10. Cal Baptist once down 26, now down 9 with 2:06, and Kansas desperately trying to hang on. Let's join Kevin Kugler and PJ Carlissimo.
25 with the made free throw. It is 66-58. Kansas's lead is 8. We welcome those of you just joining us across our network. A 16-2 run for Cal Baptist. 2 minutes to play in San Diego. It's Jackson will bring it up for Kansas. Dribbling middle of the floor, left-hand offensive zone.
Plenty of time. They don't need to foul. They need to stop.
Council dribbling to the left side with 10 to shoot. Council feeding it behind to White. 5 on the shot clock. White sizing up Dryman. White turns, flips it left side. Council, 3 left wing. Won't go. Rebound ripped down by Williams.
Got numbers here, 5 on 4.
They're going to slow it up for the moment. Marcel Williams. Clock under 90 seconds to play. 66-58 KU. Williams on the left-hand wing. Driving past Peterson to the rim. Through contact. Banks it home. 66-60. Cal Baptist within 6. It's a 2-possession game with 1:13 to play.
Bill might take a timeout here. He's talking to his point guard. Nope, just made a call. There's the timeout.
There's the timeout. Nothing on the board for KU in the last 4:34. An 18-2 Cal Baptist run. And there's hope for Cal Baptist within 6. 1:06 to go in the second half.
I'm sure Bill Self is telling his team right now, guys, we don't have to force it to him, but it might be a good idea to let Darren Peterson touch the ball. There's been a couple possessions where Darren wasn't there. To our credit, also, Martell Williams doing a nice job denying him the ball, but you would think this is an enormous possession right now. It needs to be in Darren Peterson's hands.
This crowd is absolutely electric. Cal Baptist, by the way, with fouls to give and the possession arrow in their favor. It is Kansas basketball, each team with 2 timeouts. Any foul by Kansas, not a shooting foul, it's still 1-1.
CU is 5 fouls. They got 1 to give here. But again, you don't want to foul right now.
No.
You want to stop. 19 seconds on the clock. There's still enough time for them to get a stop and a score.
Dominique Daniels walking out of the huddle, looking to the student section, waving his hand, saying, urging them on, begging.
Right now it's static. It just went down. See, there's no signal. Look at the signal. It's only a S1, S3. But I'm not picking up anything here, so you know what? Wait for a while. Yeah, so right now it's down. It was a delay. Like 10 minutes almost. It's like a 10-minute delay almost for me. I had it rolling the whole time with the other camera too. So I went over there, double checked on it. So right now it's down. Let me narrow the... Yeah. So I'm just waiting for something else to come in. Hopefully something will come in. If not, then I mean it's midnight now, so could check in another, maybe another hour, maybe another signal come in. But right now, that's all you hear now. You know what? I thought they were going to wait till the game ends. But no, it was a delay. It was about 10 minutes. And then that's it. They're gone. But there's noise. It's like S1. I'm getting like S1 to almost S3 in noise. Let me turn off these lights. Let me turn off the color lights. Oh, there you go. The light's swinging on me. The light was just swinging on me there. No, we didn't get scammed. No, we didn't get scammed. It was just a delay. Because I thought, the delay itself, the FCC delay, whatever. But that was like 10 minutes. I let it roll. So I got it on video. No, I started thinking about that too. Whether, because at some point I was like, I think they're going to wait till the game ends. But then I was in the other room. I was about to go on Discord and chat. And then I heard the static. And I ran over here. But the other phone was recording, so I got it. Yeah. No, I got it on the other phone. I got the video, so I'm gonna edit it and post it. Oh, you missed the static when it started. Yeah. No, I got it on video. It's just, let's see what comes in. Right now it's too early. Right now, I think it's too early for the West Coast. So, I'm going to let it roll. I'm going to be on for a while. But I got the other phone ready in case I do pick up something. If this one, the battery dies out, the stream, and I'm going to let the other one roll. I'm going to let it roll now. We could just... Now, you mentioned 880. Let me see. Let's go to 880. Because you mentioned 880, right? No, 880 is there. Tasso, 880 is there. Yeah, I know you mentioned about 880 in Discord. Yeah. So anyway, 880 is there. By the way, 880 is ESPN Radio. So I don't know why they would go off because it's two separate. But yeah, you mentioned about transmitter and all that. No. Yeah. Hello, Andy. So you got it on video. Okay. Andy, randomness. Kansas holds on. They will play St. John Sunday night. Cool. I'm going to leave it here for a while. I'm going to let it roll. I think, time zone wise, maybe another hour before something might come in. I'm going to let it roll. I'm going to wait. I'll put it like that. Let it roll. If they're offline for a few hours, some station is going to come in. Cuba on 660. Progresso could come in. But it's too early for Cuba right now. Normally, another couple of hours or so. I mean, I'm going to be up anyway, but we'll see. I'm going to let it roll. I'm going to let it roll. Just another live stream for me. Gobble up them hours until my battery runs out. I'll leave it like that. Medium volume. And if something comes in, I'll put the volume up. I could check. You know what? I could check up on it anyway. Let me put Dr. Sky on for a little while. I'll go back and forth. You know what? I'll put Dr. Sky on.
Of heat deep in the earth, but really everything.
I'll put Dr. Sky. I'll check up on it.
Wow, it changes currents. It changes.
I don't want to hear static all night. I'll put Dr. Sky on. I'll put Dr. Sky and I'll check up on it every so often.
It's like 10 times the whole human.
Might as well do that.
Clouds. I mean, it's just amazing how much it causes. So, yeah, we really have to look and understand the sun, and that's why we have some satellites.
And then hopefully by the time Dr. Sky ends, hopefully, I don't know if they're going to be back online by then, but right now, it's static. I just got static.
Minds, they may not even be aware. One of the most incredible spacecraft ever developed to study the corona, the outer
I'll check back and forth.
Of the sun, and the powerful solar wind that you know all about.
I'll check on my Q-dosing.
A little bit of information. It's incredible, Tom, that it got as close to the sun as about 4 million miles traveling, ladies and gentlemen. I'll repeat it, at the incredible velocity of 430,000 miles an hour. 430,000 miles an hour. And guess what? It survived. So kudos to the technology and kudos to the engineers that built that amazing, amazing spacecraft. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, and it's interesting also because people always talked about the solar constant, as if the sun was a constant ball that just sat there. And it changes. It changes a lot, and you can see it. You can see it in the geologic record, where the sun at times was much brighter than it is today, and times when it was cooler. I mean, we're happy. We're right in the middle of its lifespan right now. It's, roughly 5 billion years old, and it'll, around 10 billion years, it'll go to a red giant stage, but we're right in the perfect spot. We got billions of years to go.
Right, but don't tell that to people when they're looking to fill their gas tank, because if we could harness the fusion power of the sun, that would be incredible. Some efforts are being made, a whole entire different show, though, Tom, about the need and necessity for the fusion power that could do things that are quite amazing. The power of the sun, that's another whole subject unto itself. But what I wanted to talk with you about here, and again, ladies and gentlemen, 1-800-848-9222 is our way of inviting you to the conversation here. We like to call it Theater of the Mind, and many of you out there send us nice emails saying that they wholeheartedly agree. But what's interesting here is we talk about what's happening in the world of the climate. I just want to mention something. As we look at the temperatures right now, New York City, the center of the universe, as we're broadcast on, 49 degrees Fahrenheit. Ottawa, Canada, 26 degrees Fahrenheit. But Phoenix, Arizona, right here, 86 degrees. But the reason I mention those temperature changes, here's the most ridiculous thing, and it's very sad, but it's a climatological, record. The highest temperature supposedly ever recorded on March the 19th in U.S. history, and I'm just reading this, occurred in a town very close to Yuma, Arizona, Martinez Lake, 110 degrees Fahrenheit for March 19th, totally off the charts. Give us from the meteorological side some of your reasons why this is happening. Some say an excessive high-pressure system moving over the Pacific, now going to be over us here in the Southwest on Sunday. How do you correlate that in March, Tom? Isn't that totally incredible? How do you bring that to the table?
Yeah, it is unusual. I mean, we're coming out of a La Nina phase, and we're going into a El Nino, which they're saying is going to be strong in the summer. And I was looking up for fun to see what the impact's going to be on Arizona, because you're in Arizona, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't look too bad, actually. It's saying heat, still hot. El Nino doesn't reliably cool your summers. It says that your wildfire risk is going to be less. So that's nice to hear. And I didn't realize that you have monsoons in Arizona.
Oh, we do. Yeah, that's a horrible thing for many because, not to get way off subject here, but if anybody hasn't been to Arizona, not to scare you from coming here, with the obstreperous temperatures in July and August, we get a phenomenon that starts probably around the middle of June, not like the clockwork exactitude. Maybe by the 15th of June, maybe all the way to the end, probably till like October 1. But what you see is a large buildup in the southwest or the northeast. The northeast storms come from the Mogollon Rim, really powerful thunderstorms. But through Mexico, that moisture pushes up. And when it hits the higher temperatures and the humidity, we can get these big dust storms, Tom. They're like the planet Mars called haboobs. And it sounds like a funny name, but it really describes this most amazing orange 3,000 to 4,000 or 5,000 foot wall of dust. And it almost looks like you're on Mars, and it gets into everything. It even comes through the crack of your garage door. I've seen it come, you hear the wind, just it lets it seep through if you have a little crack in your garage door. But it gets in everything, and it does happen. It's probably good for the hydrology, the watering of the desert. We need the water, but it doesn't come with just water out of the ground. It comes with force. That's amazing.
Well, right. It reminds me of Zion National Park. They say at certain times of the year, you do not walk up those valleys, up those crevices, because there can be a flash flood of 8 feet high water just suddenly woof right over top of you. So, yeah. But Zion, that's in Arizona, isn't it?
Well, that's up in Utah. That's the Utah part.
Sorry.
That's okay. No problem.
Has similar sort of effects. But
the poor people in Globe, Arizona, Tom, they had horrific storms this past year. And when the ground dries up, they had some of the most horrific, the loss of life and property in Globe. And it happened a few times due to Mother Nature, because the ground, of course, cannot handle all that kind of rain. And just like in South Texas, the horrible events that happened there, throughout the Texas Hill Country. Prayers and afterthoughts for those that perished in that. But the weather can be pretty wicked. But we're here to talk with you about so many subjects. 1-800-848-9222, ladies and gentlemen, to join our conversation. If I can, let me steer this in a different direction. You write so many interesting articles that I think people need to know about. But there's one that kind of caught me, and I thought it was quite interesting. You talk about, in a little different realm, this subject of subcutaneous microchip mandates. Now, people may be wondering, what does that have to do with climate? But it goes along with this whole global effect of what? In many people's mind, surveillance, control of people. What the heck is this? And the state of Washington has come out legislatively to do what? To stop this. Identify what this topic is all about. This is interesting.
Yeah, they've started to do it in parts of Europe. I believe in Ireland, for example, they're doing it, where they actually put tiny microchips in the just under the skin at the back of your hand, and it allows you basically to have all your personal information there, as well as credit card information. So all you have to do is wave your hand against the sensor. Now, of course, one of the troubles is you don't know when you're walking down the street who has a sensor. So they could be right beside you, getting all your data right off your hand. I don't like that idea personally. I think it's pretty creepy. But it is true that we're seeing more of what they might call cyborgization, where, more and more artificial things are being put into our bodies. I mean, I have a heart stent, for example. I got it put in 10 years ago, and it pretty well saved my life. So there's lots of really great things that we put into our bodies. And it's interesting, there's an anthropologist I work with who studies the future of humankind. He looks at the past, and then he says, what's coming next? And Dr. Charles Laughlin, you might remember him from my articles. He's an amazing character. But regardless, he says the next stage in human evolution is cyborgization through the insertion of artificial things more and more, but also through drugs, quite frankly, because, it may come a time when, if you're competing as a salesperson with other salespeople, you may have to take certain drugs because they, your competitors are outperforming you because they can work 20 hours. They can work 20 hours a day. Yeah.
This is so Orwellian, Tom. It's just so amazing that we're even in these conversations. And people may know, of course, another great guest that we have here on the Dr. Sky Experience by People's Vote is, of course, Patrick Wood, talking technocracy. But the reason I brought that up is, this is interesting. We're seeing animals get the chip. And many people say, well, why not? In case my animal's lost, dog or cat or whatever. That's a cool thing. But how is it? It's really a slippery slope, because then it comes down to you and I. I would say no, and I would say emphatically hell no, that they're going to put that in my body. But then again, I'm just one guy with a microphone here. But here's the interesting part about it. If then that does become mandated, talk about what the legislation is in Washington State. And I'm kind of surprised at this. Tell us about what legislation is on the table to stop subcutaneous microchip mandates. That's an interesting story.
Yeah, I think the fear is that employers might insist on it, and that they're trying to, basically short-circuit that so that they can't insist that you get a microchip put in. And, it's not too far-fetched to think that employers might do that, because think of all the employers who said you had to get the COVID injection, and in fact, even people who were working remotely, who weren't even going into the office, were being told you have to get the injection or you're going to lose your job. And a lot of people did.
I have family members who work remotely with the university, and because she wouldn't get an injection, I call them injections because, it's debatable whether it's really a vaccine. But regardless, she lost her job because she wouldn't take an injection, even though she was working remotely. So if they can force you to take a experimental medication, injected into you, then yeah, I think putting a chip in your hand is not difficult. It's not something that's hard to do. In fact, it's interesting, at some of the trade fairs, people line up and they actually get them put in right there. And people say, that didn't hurt very much, and then they walk away and their credit card and all their ID and their passport and everything.
Hey, I'm gonna check it again. I took the Qdosin outside right there in the alley. It's raining though. I can't be out there. It sucks because it's raining. I could hear something. I was listening to like speech, like I don't know, like voice, not music. So I can hear something. Let me check on see if we're getting we get anything over here. I can hear something, but anyway, I'll check up on it a little later. The Qdosin, I took it out there, and I can hear something, but it sounds very low. But I wish I could go further out the house and I can hear it, but it's raining, so I can't. Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna leave it on. I'm gonna be streaming. I'm gonna we'll check in about another hour, top of the hour, maybe another station can come in. Now I don't know how long they're gonna be shut down.
Less or more access
to
social service.
But I'm gonna keep checking.
Well, again, not to be on a bully pulpit here or to be on a big stage and the virtual and the radio program here, but the truth of the matter is, this is interesting. When will people wake up to the fact that, hey, you do and should have choices in these things, but I don't know. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir, but I hope there's members out there of the choir that will pay attention.
Yeah, in Canada, of course, during the truckers' protest, we had a first-hand demonstration of that, because what they started to do was they started to freeze people's bank accounts who gave donations to the truckers, and people who gave as little as $50 were having their bank accounts frozen, not only their own personal bank account, but their bank accounts of their spouse, of their children, all these people, because the government was able to track them down. So, to a large extent, I think we should use cash as much as we can, because when you start using credit cards all the time for everything, and I know they're super convenient, but you're trackable. So it's only a matter of time. If you look at the Great Reset, what they want to do is track everybody, and I don't think that's very healthy.
Well, you've heard the other side of the coin from those that want it. If you've got nothing to hide, then why don't you just comply? But I guess, obviously, this audience, a lot of smart people out there in all parts of the nation and around the world. We're almost at the bottom of the heartbreak at the hour here, at the bottom of the hour, I should say. Tom Harris is our guest. If you're just joining us, the Executive Director of the Ottawa, Canada-based International Climate Science Coalition, a policy advisor to the Heartland Institute, and he's got well over 40 years' experience as a mechanical engineer, project manager, science and technology, communications professional. And by your likability, ladies and gentlemen, that's why we have guests like him back to talk in an open forum, like we call it, Theater of the Mind, about so many of the things that are going on in the world. The main mantra of the show has and always will be to open up our minds about the great mysteries, not only in science, but also the stories of American exceptionalism and beyond. His website, icsc-canada.com, and 1-800-848-9222. To have you join in the conversation, we will be right back.
You talk.
Just went final with Miami winning 80-66 and me having Miami in my Elite Eight.
Yeah, nothing so far. But I can hear a little something. But when I took the kHz outside in the alley, I heard a little more. But it's raining out there. I can't be out there. It sucks. Sucks that it's raining. Otherwise, I would have took it way outside to the boulder. I would have took it all the way out there to the boulder. Who knows? So I'm going to wait. I'll check up on it in about another hour, whatever, next couple of hours or so. I'm going to be up anyway. So I'll keep checking. Something's got to come in. Yeah, that too, the rain. Exactly. Yeah, I was thinking about that too, Michael. The rain's probably affecting millimeter wave propagation. Yeah, that too.
Because the real pictures and how...
Canada-based International Climate Science Coalition. Isn't that interesting, Tom? I mean, I had John Coleman as a guest on other shows that I've done in my life.
Oh, yeah. I love
He's so adamant about this. I mean, he's passed on to the infinite. But did you ever have a chance to speak with him? I mean, an interesting man and a businessman. Tell us that. I want to hear about him.
Yeah, John was a humble guy. He was an enthusiastic guy, and that's, of course, why he was a good weatherman on TV. But, I mean, he was also extremely knowledgeable. He would speak at the Heartland conferences, and I should just let you know that on the 8th and 9th of April, coming up, if people go to heartland.org, they can watch a conference in which all kinds of the leading experts in the world will be speaking. John Clauser, who won the 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics, who told Joe Biden when he went to the White House to be congratulated that he was wrong on climate. Joe was not happy about that. But John Clauser is going to be speaking. So people should go to heartland.org. And right now on their homepage is the announcement of this conference. And they're bringing in literally the top people in the world to show that the climate scare doesn't make any sense. William Happer.
Yeah, because I'm going to stream just at least a Dr. Sky show. That's going to end at 2 a.m. And then after that, I'll end my stream. But I'm going to be up here. I'm going to be on for a little while. I mean, on the boiler room, just listening. Hopefully, I might get something tonight, but I don't know, man. Right now, it's not looking good. Not looking good right now.
Are capable of sending camera, microphone, and location back to China.
Not looking good. But anyway, I'll leave it on Dr. Sky. I'll check back and forth, and then when Dr. Sky ends, I'll end my live stream.
Camera, microphone, and GPS data.
So,
get this.
Just going to keep checking.
The software in these electric vehicles is also capable of downloading the contents of the driver's phones even when the car is turned off.
Wow. Now, this is a bit dystopian, right? This is all cinematic. That's incredible. That is.
That's
and
right.
It's not I really like the Epic Times. I mean, you're like yourself. I read them regularly. And, of course, they have a slant very heavily against the Communist Chinese Party, to say the least. But that's interesting that more data collection, because, hey, if you can do that. But I wonder, are those cars still sold in America, too? I mean, not that the Canadians should suffer, but I wonder if that's also, is that a global sale?
The problem is our new Prime Minister Carney has decided to sort of buddy up to China more and more because he wasn't getting along with Trump. He somehow thinks that China is going to be better than Trump, which is insane, of course. I mean, China has organ harvesting and all kinds of incredible things like slave labor, etc. So he's making deals to allow Chinese electric vehicles into Canada very easily, and the Americans don't like that because you could easily see them driving across the border, bringing all their spyware with them when Canadians go on holidays, because that's what's embedded in these cars. It's spyware, basically. But imagine gathering all the contents of your phone and having it broadcast back to China. And this is no joker. I mean, she's a professor, Margaret McQuaid Johnson, a Chinese expert, senior fellow at the University of Ottawa. She actually testified before the House of Commons International Trade Committee on March 12th, and that's what she told them. She said, look, you're bringing in a massive security risk to Canada by bringing in these Chinese EVs. Now, as she points out, it's kind of funny to hear the way she says this. She says, this would not be a problem for a normal country But China has shown malign intent towards us, and Chinese companies are required to spy on behalf of Chinese intelligence service whenever requested. So,
you know, I heard something else, Tom, not to cut you short here, but this came to me from friends of mine that are engineers, and they, you know, all over the country, but friends here in Arizona. They said that it is the duty of any of the Chinese students or people that are working for these companies to what? Send as much information in the form of espionage back to the motherland. I mean, I didn't think that was an exaggeration. Tell us that.
Well, that's right. In fact, just down the street from me is Nortel, or at least it was Nortel, until it sunk, and China suddenly, you know, Huawei actually went through the roof in the same field, and apparently a lot of Nortel's secrets was stolen by China, and of course boosted Huawei. And when National Defense took over the huge building that originally held Nortel scientist researchers, they found the whole building was loaded with bugs. You know, there were spyware everywhere throughout the whole building. And it's interesting that a friend of mine is a chief warrant officer in the Canadian military, and he knows about this. And he said, he said, when we took over the building, it was full of bugs, sending information, presumably, back to China. And so the fact that Huawei suddenly had its stock, you know, soar, and the company did extremely well in the field that Nortel was working in, exactly as Nortel collapsed, well, that's the consequence of industrial espionage.
Yeah, I just heard them. They're back.
About this, and
right now, they are squarely setting their plans for Sunday.
Yeah, so they're back. So that's the end of that. I just checked it on my FMDX web server and I heard them. So they're back. So there you go. They weren't even gone for an hour. Wow.
Driving in, the Caravan found it.
That blows.
I don't see that. Yeah, just the way the game.
All right, so there you go. They're back. They're back online. Back on the air. So that's it.
Stopping the clock with a 13-point lead.
Yeah.
I think he just played simple defense, trying to play straight up. Good play by House. Getting the call, but not a lot there. Tom House to the line.
Yeah, they're back in the air. That's it.
That is 19 for him tonight. For a guy who's averaging.
All right, I'm going to put on Dr. Sky. They're back on the air. Forget it.
At this point, I kind of want to see 30 and 30.
Anyway, they're back on the air. So I'm going to put it back on Dr. Sky for the rest of the stream. Yeah. Wow. That was the shortest. I think that was the shortest downtime.
Because of the fact that they can't get out from under.
Yeah, so they're back on the air.
His thumb. And that's why I love the Epoch Times, because they're so brave, you know, because they've had their...
And Tom, again, not to just plaster them all over the universe, but let me say this, they're in-depth.
Let me unlock the server. They're back online. They're back on the air now.
Like a lot of whatever left, you know, newspapers are left or other, you know, sites on the internet. But this is interesting. Also, a thing that I enjoy about this group that comes to the United States and maybe Canada and all over the world, except for China, is the Shin Yun actually dance troupe that comes out.
Yeah.
That show I've been to so many times, and I encourage people within the sound of this powerhouse station, if you have an opportunity to see these Chinese performers, this all in support of freedom, not the opposite side of communism in China. That's interesting.
Yeah, and in fact, the Communist Party has done their best to sabotage them as much as possible. And so, of course, my daughters and wife, that's part of the reason they went, to support them. You know, so I think people should support them. They're very brave, very much like the Epoch Times people. You know, it's interesting, Dr. Sky. I mean, China's got a marvelous history. You know, we were talking about space a little bit last time. And did you want to talk a little about China's exploration and history? Because it is kind of amazing. And it is relates directly. Yeah, it relates directly to the space program. And did you want to talk about that a bit?
Well, I want to mention something. Let's save that for hour number 2, because I have a good reason behind what I'm saying here, but not to cut you short. The interesting thing I want people to understand is China, the Communist Chinese Party, has an interesting 100-year plan. And people may go, well, what do you mean by a 100-year plan? Well, I just said it. What do we have as a 100-year plan here in the United States or Canada or other places? You see how focused they are about how and what they're going to do? There's a 100-year plan. Talk about that.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Well, That's right. 2049, they want to be the dominant power in the world. And they're getting towards it. I mean, you know, they're doing amazing things. They very likely will have the first moon base, you know. So China is advancing. But, you know, the interesting thing is friends of mine who've been there, they say that it's the contrast between the super rich and the super poor. It's like they're in different centuries. You know, like they say, you can go just a few blocks away from the very wealthy and you have the very, very poor. So, you know, the Communist Party, you know, people forget. When they talk about Hitler, they forget that both Stalin and Mao killed more people. Mao is the greatest murderer in history.
So you can do whatever you want in there.
He starved complete regions of the country,
all right, so anyway, I'm gonna let this live go on
following his Great Leap Forward.
2 a.m. when the show ends, then
and that party is still in charge. You know, I mean, people like to think that it's not as bad as it was then, but that party is still running China. And, you know, we've had special MPs here in Canada, members of parliament, who've investigated their organ harvesting, for example. And it's horrific. They take bits and pieces.
Let me put the lights back.
Bits and pieces
Let me
out
put
of
the
people,
LED lights
like their
back.
eyes or whatever, while they're in prison. And then I suppose eventually when they want to take their heart,
the
they have
LED
to
lights
kill them.
back.
But, you know, that's horrible. Something out of science. It's like something out of science fiction.
It sure is. But again, Tom, they have a 100-year plan about what they're doing. And of course, I thought there was a German term, I may mispronounce it, called Lebensraum. And it was something to do with the effect, just like in Nazi Germany, the ability to conquer land, because I gather one of the Chinese leaders at one time and one of their ministers of defense said basically, with our population, it's impossible for us to live in this square area that we have. We must do this. We must expand our horizons and populate those other areas. That's an interesting concept, and it's part of the 100-year plan. At least that's what I read.
Yeah, and it's also interesting how China is actually expanding its control over places that it doesn't actually rule. You know, and you look at...
Yeah, Mike, well, at least it lasted longer than WABC's off-air maintenance in 2021. It was back within 15 minutes. Yeah, this is about maybe what it was. Half an hour, 45 minutes. I don't even know what it was. 45 minutes, maybe? Oh, well. Anyway, I'm going to let the live stream play out. To the end of the Dr. Sky show, I'll shut it down for the night. So anyway, yeah, I'll do that. Also get a 2-hour live stream out of it or something.
That are needed for wind and solar and batteries. About 70% of all the materials come from China. In some cases, it's like virtually all of it. Like 85% of the rare earths, for example, come from China, where they have neodymium and dysprosium, you know, things like that, which give you super magnets, which are great for wind turbines. But the trouble is, they're made in China and they're mined in China. You know, and even in cases like lithium, where most of it's not mined in China, it's processed in China. So what you find is that if we switch from our, you know, natural gas and oil that we have right here in North America, as we switch to wind and solar power, we become more and more dependent on China.
We take a break now, ladies and gentlemen, on the Dr. Sky Experience. About 30 minutes. Your questions and comments, the phone lines are open, 1-800-848-9222. More on the other side as we move to the top of hour number 1. Your questions and comments as we focus back to the original concepts here and topics. We talk about climate science, whether you believe it or not. Your opinion counts, and we'd love to hear from you. More with our special guest, Tom Harris.
This is 77 WABC Newsroom Extra.
You've been hearing it for years, and now a doctor is highlighting the health benefits of taking a walk after you eat. Gastroenterologist Jessica Philpott with the Cleveland Clinic.
Walking immediately after a meal can shorten rapidly the amount of time that food sits in the stomach. And so that can really improve symptoms of feeling excessively full, reflux, abdominal pain.
Going for a walk after a meal can also help with gastrointestinal issues and glucose control. Philpott says it can be helpful to walk 15 to 30 minutes.
Even just making a change in position can impact stomach emptying. So a person that can't walk around the block, if they at least get up to stand from sitting, if they walk around their house, that may still impact positively their stomach emptying.
So push away from the table and take a walk with friends, family, even the dog. I'm Lisa Ritchie, 77 WABC News.
Hayes Joe Piscopo join me for Boulevard's Sundays with Sinatra. Tomorrow night, starting at 6, it's Francis Albert Sinatra, and I'm honored to play his music, share some stories, and just swing, baby.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty. That the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
Yeah, I was hoping it'd be longer. And I was hoping we could pick up anything, but nothing. What a bummer. Anyway, at least I got that on video. I got the when they shut off on video. So I got that on my other phone. I got that on video. I just need to edit it because this one was rolling for like 10 minutes, and then finally it shut off. I was in the other room and I heard the static. I was like, oh wow, they went off finally after a 10-minute delay, almost. So anyway. All right, take care, Michael. Good night. Have a great weekend. Thank you for stopping by.
I'm talking to Dr. Sky. Since I've spent a lot of my time looking up, I love to discuss what is underneath. And always remember to keep your eyes to the sky.
Global warming is controversial, of course, but the controversy is maybe over whether human activity is the primary cause and driving it. A quote from astrophysicist Michio Kaku. 47 minutes after the hour, we welcome you to the conversation, ladies and gentlemen. We love critical thinking and, of course, the conversation in dialogue. 1-800-848-9222. Tom, very interesting here, all the articles that you've been writing for America Out Loud. Let's talk to one of these that I think could probably take 4 hours to explain, and I know you can do that in a long
Hello, Todd. I hope you're doing well. We were trying to see if we can DX on 660 because it went offline. It went off the air for about 30 minutes, but it's back now. So we just, I'm just going to keep it on Dr. Sky until the show ends, and then I'll end my stream. So anyway, thank you for stopping by.
People like me are allowed to speak, or people like you. And so they consider our statements, not our opinion or a different point of view, they consider it definitely misinformation. So they've actually come up with a declaration where they're going to fight against us and purposely force high-tech companies, Facebook, etc., to be, pull our ratings down, and in some cases to shadow ban us, so that we don't get our information out. So, I mean, it's interesting because in a way it's a compliment. They say that, like with Gandhi, at first they ignore you, then they fight you, and then they lose. But the fact is, they can't ignore us anymore because what we're saying is so commonsensical. What we're saying, for example, is that, I look at the extreme weather database for the United States. Find me a record that was set in the last year. You can't. Okay, you go back to 1936. You find there were 27 extreme weather records set, things like highest temperature, strongest wind, biggest hailstone. And so people, these are basic facts that you just look it up on the internet. And how much is sea level rising? It's like 10 inches per century, and you say, well, that doesn't sound like a catastrophe, and so many, how many polar bears are there? Well, there's 5 times as many as there were in 1960. So the fact that the data itself, the actual empirical evidence that we observe around the world doesn't support the climate scare, that's why they want to shut us up. Because in fact, it's just not there. I've never seen a field where virtually everything they say is wrong. Whether it's extreme weather or whether it's ocean acidification or polar bears or temperature, all these things, they're 100% wrong. And in some cases, like I said earlier, they say, for example, extreme weather will increase as we have a warming Earth. Well, it's the exact opposite, actually, because the warming occurs most at high latitudes. And so if you have high latitudes, like in the Arctic, warming more quickly, then the temperature difference between the high latitudes and mid-latitudes is less, so the driver of weather becomes weaker. So you have actually less extreme weather. And we know that because when we look at the Little Ice Age, the Chinese researchers have looked at sediments at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, and they found that it was during cold periods when they had the most typhoons and the most, tropical cyclones, because, of course, the cold weather is what brings the extreme weather. And the Chinese have said that. So, of course, so the answer that the UN people is, well, shut them up. Don't let people hear them.
Well, Tom, this is interesting. It's kind of an understatement. It's obvious to many people that the more we think we know, the less we know. But the whole climate science conversation is not absolutely settled. No doubt you would agree. But here, this is an interesting quote, and I've repeated it many times before. Shakespeare's comedic play, As You Like It, has an interesting quote about those that think they know it all, and it goes like this, and I quote, "The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool," end quote. So the point of the matter is, you brought up something to this audience, and we're going to refresh it. Explain to us the interesting phrase, the Dunning-Kruger effect. Please continue.
Yeah, well, that's hilarious. They did research into how confident people were based on how much they actually knew. And they delved into various fields in philosophy and different types of science and things like that. And they would ask people questions, and they would evaluate whether the answers were right, of course, but they would also ask people before they were asked the questions, how confident were they in that particular field? And what they found was that the people who were the least confident, the people who knew the least, this is the key point, the people who knew the least were the most confident. So, and of course, I think it's and the people who knew the most were more humble. Yeah, and so they found that the least knowledgeable people overestimated the degree to which they were right, and when they actually gave them the quiz, they were wrong in most cases, even though they thought they were right. And, we see that constantly in the environmental field. The scientists are generally more conditional. Well, this may be true with a certainty of plus or minus 2 degrees or whatever, and so they're not likely to give the extreme statements. But what you get from the virtually knowledgeless activists who couldn't tell you what an El Nino was, and they wouldn't know the difference between a thunderstorm or a hailstorm. I mean, these people really don't know much about it, and yet they are so confident that we're destroying the world. And you look
Absolutely. That's why we need to do forums like this. I mean, if the other side that doesn't believe that what we're saying is correct, if they had an open forum, why can't we at least have, as we are here, having a civil conversation where the art of debate should be something that's not, started with a riot or a revolution, right? I mean, that's totally ridiculous. Can't people just speak and give their opinion?
And
right.
I think I mentioned this last time, but the perfect response to this is exactly what the android Data in Star Trek gave when he was trying to evacuate a planet because the aliens were coming back to inhabit it, and the Federation had said, yeah, you can have the planet back. And Data said, you realize if you're still here when the aliens get here, you're all dead. And the colonist leaders didn't want to hear that. And so they tried to shut him up. And he finally said this, and this is what I've said actually at environmentalist meetings when they try to shut me up, turn off the microphone, whatever. Is your point of view so weak? Yeah, is your point of view so weak it cannot withstand rational debate? And the bottom line is that the UN essentially have said, yes, their point of view is so weak, all they can do is tell us to shut up and get the social media, Facebook and X, and get them to censor us and even make it illegal. Like in Canada, for example, there was one MP who actually put forward a motion, and thankfully didn't pass, to make it a criminal offense to actually question some of the business to do with Native people. For example, in Canada...
Unbelievable, Tom. This is incredible. And why people let it stand. So how did you fight it? How do you fight that? Tell me.
Well, it is tough because if the mouthpiece is controlled by people who are happy to do the censorship, in Canada we have huge censorship because the government pays 50% of the salaries on average of all the journalists in the country. I mean, you've got the CBC, which is the national broadcaster. Of course, 100% of their salaries are paid for by the government. But during the COVID so-called pandemic, the government decided they had to fund media to keep them afloat. And so, but they didn't stop. And they're still doing it. In fact, up to 50% of the salary of all journalists in Canada in mainstream media are now paid by the government. And I've noticed a huge change. When I started writing in this field in 1999, myself and the other professors that I was working with, they would actually, we get published from coast to coast. Literally, every major newspaper would pick us up. And then around 2010, things started to change. They started to reject our pieces, even newspapers that were previously very much on our side. And now, holy smokes, there's just 2 or 3 papers in the whole country that will take our articles, and even then they water them down. They water them down, and they give you a choice. They give you a choice. You either have your article published saying, well, it may be this or it may be that, or we won't publish at all. And so I've had people contact me, like William Happer and others from Princeton, after an article that we've had, let's say, in the National Post, which is a pretty prominent newspaper, and say, well, why are you saying it might be this or it could be that? And I had to tell them, because if I said it wasn't this, as your data shows, then they wouldn't publish. So, yeah, the big problem is, how do you get your word out? And, of course, one of the best ways to get your word out and to actually fight against this is talk radio.
Well, exactly, Tom. And excuse me for cutting you short here because of time. That's not the only reason here, but something more powerful. This COP30 Declaration of Informational Integrity, that's on the pathway to what? Reducing or censorship. You can't speak, and this is a terrible thing. So what happened at the end result? The United States, of course, did not sign on to this. Tell us the rest of the story in just a minute or so.
Yeah, Canada signed on to it. Europe, most of the European countries signed on to it. So what it is they're going to start to establish legislation to actually start to censor speech to do with climate. Okay? And they're going to try to force the tech companies to actually deplatform people. If they take this to the extreme that the actual declaration seems to be pointing in, then it will be against the law to actually speak out like I'm doing right now. So it's
at least while we can, right? Who knows what comes next? And I'm not saying here on this particular station, but obviously the freedom of speech here. I guess, I don't know, does Canada have a First Amendment? No, not really, right? Or do they?
Not really. It's very much undefined. Your stuff is much more clearly defined. You have to remember, Canada is a constitutional monarchy, so we still have crown land. And it's interesting, on crown land they can be doing Agent Orange testing or anything they want, and you're not allowed to find out as a citizen. In the United States, you can find out.
Well, we're going to find out much more, Tom, as the clock runs out here with Tom Harris, our special guest, by popular demand, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, and I believe it. 1-800-848-9222. I'm kind of surprised that many people haven't jumped in on this particular conversation, but we have another hour to continue to explore not only these subjects, Tom, but lots of subjects that I want to get into with your engineering and aeronautical background. And we keep this open, and your commentary on some of the things going on in the war in Iran, here in the United States, around the world, and to all of our listeners, ladies and gentlemen, we do appreciate you. We'll be giving in hour number 2 a short sky update, as the main tenet of the radio show has always and will continue to be, talking about the wonders of what you can actually see in the heavens as the prima facie part of the Dr. Sky Experience. We'll be right back with hour number 2 on the Dr. Sky Experience. Don't forget, you can chime in at 1-800-848-9222 in the Theater of the Mind. We'll be right back.
WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays.
Now, the latest from the 77 WABC
WABC Newsroom. Randy Mastro was Eric Adams' first deputy mayor, and he has a lot to say about Mayor Mamdani and the mistakes he says he's watched his fellow Democrat make during his first few months in office.
The mayor is, learning on the job. Some of the mistakes are just rookie mistakes. Creating an atmosphere of crisis around the city budget because he's trying to force tax increases. And that led to Moody's downgrading the city's bond rating. The first negative bond rating since COVID.
Mastro, who was on the Cats Roundtable with owner and operator John Katsamatidis, says someone needs to tell the mayor that he can't get everything he wants right away.
You can't fund every program you'd like to fund just because you think it would be a nice program to have. You have to live within your means and fund that which you can afford to fund. Unfortunately, what we have with a new experienced mayor is he wants to fund every one of his priorities and sets the budget at that level.
The former first deputy mayor did find something he thinks Mayor Mamdani has done right.
One of the things that the new mayor has done better than I expected, and it's a sharp departure from the harsh rhetoric he used on the campaign trail, that he was the only one who would stand up to the president. He's actually tried to open lines of communication and get benefits for the city out of that. And that's a smart thing to do.
You can hear more interviews like the one with Mastro on the Cats Roundtable every Sunday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on the radio or the 77 WABC app. Noam Layton, WABC News. You're listening to one of the most iconic stations in the nation. An American original. Talk Radio 77 WABC and WABCRadio.com. Always look to the sky. The Dr. Sky Experience is on the air. 77 WABC. Now, here's Dr. Sky.
2 minutes after the hour, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us and spending part of your weekend with the Dr. Sky Experience. Always great guests, as you tell us. The contact number, 1-800-848-9222. Guests from the realms of astronomy, space, aviation, weather, celebrity guests in the mix, and stories proudly of American exceptionalism. About truth, justice, and the American way. 1-800-848-9222 as we continue with our special guest, Tom Harris. If you're just joining us, he's the executive director of the Ottawa, Canada-based International Climate Science Coalition, a policy advisor to the Heartland Institute, and he has well over 40 years' experience as a mechanical engineer, project manager, science and technology, computer, and communications professional. He joins us in hour number 2. Well, Tom, lots to talk about here. I want to talk a little closer to my location here in Arizona, and also various attorney generals around the United States. The headline here in Arizona, Attorney General Mays condemns the illegal recession of EPA's landmark 2009 greenhouse gas endangerment finding. Thus what? A simple lawsuit from the state of Arizona, and I'm sure others fighting against the EPA in a Supreme Court decision a long time ago. Talk about this and what's happening.
Yeah, we have to go back to, the period during Bush's administration, the second Bush. The environmentalists wanted carbon dioxide declared as a pollutant because if it was, it could be controlled under the Clean Air Act. But, Representative Dingell, who is one of the originators of the Clean Air Act, he said, no, the Clean Air Act was not established to control carbon dioxide. It was established to control real pollution, things like sulfur dioxide and particulates and things like that. But you see, they wanted the Supreme Court to tell the U.S. government, no, this is actually a pollutant. So that's what happened. In 2007, the Supreme Court declared it a pollutant and said that but the EPA had to actually find out if it was causing dangerous harm to humans or the environment. Now, Bush kind of dragged his feet on it. But when Obama came in, boom, right away, he had his EPA do what they called an endangerment finding. That was in 2009, and they examined whether or not carbon dioxide actually gave, a serious threat to human health and welfare. And they decided that it did. And as a consequence, the EPA had no choice. After it had been declared
that A, it was a pollutant that could be controlled under the Clean Air Act, and B, it did pose a threat to the health and welfare of human beings, then the EPA had to regulate. And that was the foundation on which all kinds of regulations were established. You know, everything from, you know, the energy usage of your stove.
Exactly.
You know, to automobiles, to power plants, to all sorts of things. Now, they haven't rescinded the whole endangerment finding, but they've rescinded part of it. And the part they rescinded was the part that applied to automobiles. So that's what you know, the EPA administrator has done, and that's what these lawsuits are trying to stop. But of course, the whole point of the Clean Air Act was not to control climate in the year 2100. It was to control real threats to people right now. So, I mean, withdrawing the EPA endangerment finding is very powerful because it pulls the legs out from under so many of these ridiculous climate regulations, you know, restricting our usage of energy.
Very controversial, but I'm hoping that these lawsuits, of course, succeed. No, not these lawsuits, but I'm saying the continuance of being able to do these different things, as the Trump administration is obviously trying to check the climate, you know, alarmist theories out there. So obviously we hope those lawsuits don't continue. Let's continue with the callers. They rule here on this show. Line number 1, he's been waiting. We say good morning to Pete in Staten Island. Thanks for joining us. Your questions, comments, please continue.
Hi, yes. About the chipping, my daughter has me chipped. My daughter has them in my wallet, in my bag, in my car. My daughter could tell me where I went. If I'm out at Aqueduct Racetrack, she can locate me. She wouldn't, you know, and then I'd be there. When I come home, she'd say, Where's my part? You know, I go, well, you can pay half of my losings like that. No, I'm retired, and I like to, you know, enjoy myself with my wife and stuff, and we like going to the track and the casinos, but we don't do that betting over our heads because we've been there, done that. We did that years ago.
I love it, Pete. Oh, that's amazing.
I don't mind that I'm chipped because she knows where I am. If I get lost, I call her and I ask her, where am I? And she tells me.
Well, Tom, there's a man who's testified about why he likes to be chipped, but Pete, you bring up something very interesting. What do you say to that, Tom? That's really cool what he's talking about.
Well, they haven't put it under your skin yet. It's actually in things that you carry, right?
Yes. I wouldn't want
not under your skin, Pete, right?
No, not at all.
At least if you go for a walk, you could leave all that at home if you want, and you could be secret wherever you went.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes, like, I'll take a chip and I'll put it in one of my friend's yard, and my daughter will think I'm there. But then I realize that she has a load of them on me. She's got one in the car. Like that. I did have some doubts. I did have some doubts with a little bit of dementia. I had.
Well, God bless you, my friend. No, I hope. But let me say this, and obviously hoping your health is continuing to be good here. But it's great. I hope your winnings continue if that's what happens at Aqueduct. I've been there when I was a child. I couldn't bet, but I went there with uncles, and it's still around, right, Pete? What a place. Aqueduct Racetrack. There you go. Well, let's continue. We go to line number 2. Bob from Yonkers. You've been patient. Bob, good morning. Thanks for spending time with us. How you doing?
Yonkers.
Bob and Yonkers. Yes, go ahead.
My question is there any movement when developing the new Concorde SST?
Interesting. Wow.
Oh, yeah, we were going to talk about that. The Concorde, of course, cost a fortune. That was one reason why it didn't succeed. It also had a catastrophic crash, but also it had these sonic booms, which were very loud as it went over the countryside. And that's why, of course, it wasn't allowed to fly supersonic over continental landmass. Now, if you have a Concorde and you can't fly supersonic, well, it's not going to be very cost-effective because it doesn't carry very
What's the purpose of that thing if you can't go? Right, full bore.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. So NASA is developing this X-59, which is an experimental aircraft with just one pilot in it. It's not a very big machine. It's about 99 feet long, actually. But the point they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so that it won't make these sonic booms. And it's interesting because they say that if it's successful, the sound that you'll hear when it flies overhead is not bam, bam, as you know, you get the leading and the trailing edge shock waves. You're not going to hear that. They say it'll be a dull thud, like somebody's slamming a car door from a long distance away.
Very interesting.
And so they're purposely going to be flying this vehicle over, populated areas to try to find out what the reaction of the public is.
Bob, take a look at this. He's talking about the X-59. It's interesting. We've been talking about that in other formats here, and in the aviation side. We'll get into it one day deeper, but it's the funniest looking airplane I've ever seen, Bob. It's got this long nose with no glass window, so the pilot is basically looking out on a computer screen, but the whole purpose is to, safely generate a shockwave that's not going to disrupt the air and you don't hear it. Bob, continue if you got another comment about this. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate you.
Well, I know that we're having problems with the fuel mileage. Have they solved that problem too?
Don't know. What do you say?
I don't know. The main focus of this whole project is to try to get the sonic boom down low enough that they can fly over land. Yeah, and it's interesting. You look it up on the web, for example, in Wikipedia, they have a nice entry on the X-59. 40% of the whole aircraft is nose. It's got this huge long nose that extends out front. And of course, the reason is that they're trying to have the shockwave form gradually instead of a very strong bang, the first shockwave. I mean, you have to realize that the reason you're getting these shockwaves, and you see them, in water, for example, is that what's happening is the air molecules can't get out of the way because they don't know that the aircraft is coming. And because the aircraft is going faster than the speed at which the sound is detected ahead of it. So you end up with a shockwave at the leading edge, and any irregularities like the cockpit or the wings or the tail, those all form shockwaves. And as you get a little further from the aircraft in a standard supersonic aircraft, those shockwaves coalesce into one shockwave for the leading part of the aircraft and one shockwave for the end, and the two of them hit the ground to get, one after the other, bam, bam, and those are very loud. Okay, those are loud, and so.
At air shows, we've actually heard, Bob, I don't know if you ever heard it, but at the particular air shows that we've covered, they generate a shockwave like that over the crowd, and boy, I'll tell you, that's something that you don't want to miss, but you don't want to hear too often. Right there.
That's right. So if the X-59 is successful, it will open the door to a totally new kind of aircraft, which will look strange, but not make the huge sounds that you get from the leading and trailing edge shockwaves.
Bob, thanks for being with us. We appreciate you on the Dr. Sky Experience. Have a great weekend. Let's go to line number 4, patient as they are, Shannon from Long Island. You're on the air with our guest, Tom Harris. How are you doing this morning?
Hi, good evening. This is by far the most interesting show on the radio.
Wow. I appreciate that. And, go ahead, please.
Thank you. With reference to the microchipping, well, isn't that similar to what's being done with the licenses now, the real license or the enhanced license that you need to get on a flight? I understand there's a chip in there that contains all your data, all your everything.
Biometric.
I wonder if that's a security breach. It can be. The government can access anything about you, which they have most of it anyway, but I'd like your guest's thoughts on that.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon. You bring up some good points. Tom?
Yeah, well, it's always great as long as you have a friendly, government that's going to be democratic and be fair. I guess the trouble is, what are you going to do if it gets in the wrong hands? I mean, I'm an aerospace engineer, and I studied some of the history of what went on in Germany. And you had people like von Braun, for example, who were forced to use their skills to work for the Nazis. Otherwise, their families would be at risk, So the bottom line is, you don't want the government knowing all of your details. You want to be able to disappear into the woodwork sometimes if the government is not a friendly government.
Yeah, that makes sense. Shannon, a follow-up from you, if you'd like, and do appreciate the comments about the particular show and the content. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, I just wonder, it's either that or you get a passport, and, because I did hear a cybersecurity specialist say something about don't get that license, don't even bother getting it.
Interesting. Because I've even heard, Shannon, that I don't know, I don't travel a lot, but I do have a passport. Am I correct, Tom, to help Shannon out on this? Doesn't the passport, at least American passport, have some sort of microchip in it? I thought it does. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know about American passports, but I think that the real worry here is if you look at communist China, where, as I say, they have assigned a social score to every individual, and based on your social score, with your little credit card or whatever you're using to get on the subway, you may find that the doors don't open for you. Because if you're critical of the government, this is something they can start to turn off. And, of course, that's what happened in Canada. I mean, people say, oh, that's China, it won't happen here. Well, in Canada, our government froze people's bank accounts for months in some cases. They couldn't get any of their money because they had donated or in some way supported the truckers' convoy, and of course, I mean, that is like, it shows you what governments can do. And it's interesting because in Canada, they had this emergency declaration which gave them these sweeping powers. And 2 court levels, the lower court, the middle level court, have both said the government had no reason to establish this national emergency. They had no business freezing bank accounts. So believe it or not, the government is now taking them to the Supreme Court because the government wants these powers. And we're talking about a democracy, So, I mean, yeah, you don't want to have all of your biometric data and everything available to the government.
No, and I'm sure Shannon doesn't either.
Of course, that's one of the main reasons that a lot of people own gold and silver, and they buy it in quantities that are small so that it's not tracked by the government. Because if you want to have some independent way to survive, you want to have something outside of government control. You don't want to have everything in these digital banking systems. You want to have something in your drawer where you can pull out a few silver coins.
Tom, just to say this, I think everybody would agree, at least most people, that dialogue and discourse, as far as, having an opinion here and no censorship at all, but hey, maybe I'm from another planet right now when I say that. But Shannon, seriously, thank you for your comments about the show and also your comments to our special guest. Hope you have a great weekend and appreciate you as the other listeners. Let's continue. Line number 5. As the phone lines light up, we say good morning to Dennis in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. Good morning. How are you this morning, Dennis?
Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate the opportunity. This is my first opportunity to be on the show since its beginning. And I'm an author. I have written a book called Living in the Surveillance State. I endorse what your guest is talking about. I think we have a lot of issues to deal with, more particularly and locally here in Washington, D.C. They're dealing with these photo cams on the street where the mayor here and the city council is debating whether they should remove them or not. The Congress of the United States also has a say in this as far as the district, how it is run. But the cameras do record people's speed, turns, and whatever. And it generates, over a period of 5 years, anywhere from 130 million up to over 300 million.
As in a lot of places around the country and other parts of the world, Dennis. I appreciate what you're saying. But
actually, while you
go ahead.
Yeah, while you were speaking, Dennis, I looked up your book. I can see it right here on eBay. A Time for the U.S. Living in the Surveillance State by Dennis Andrew. Well, I don't know if you want me to say your name.
Please do.
But,
that's all right. You can go ahead.
Okay. Dennis Andrew Ball. It looks like an amazing book. A Time for the U.S. Living in the Surveillance State. Yeah, this looks like something I'm going to want to read.
Well, that's interesting, Dennis. I appreciate your point, but give us a summation so we can move forward. We got a big board of calls here. We do appreciate everybody. Okay, well, we've heard that, and I appreciate Dennis from Washington, D.C. with his book. Let's say on line number 3, good morning to Alexi in Brooklyn, a regular caller. Alexi, good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Dr. Sky, and to your guests. Very pleased to have got through. Look, 2 very brief points, if I may. 2 points, and a last word, if I can get it. The first point is that from what I'm garnering from your conversation with him, is that these obscenities that the governments of the Western world have thrust upon the peoples of those nations is these unreasonable, absolutely horrendous laws and regulations and requirements, surveillance, because it is time for the people of this nation to stand very firmly and react in a proper and lawful manner with the greatest of vigor against this, because we are on the edge of the cliff. Another decade and we are over the edge.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's right. And I go to some of these freedom groups in Canada where I'll give presentations about the climate issue because, of course, that's another way to lock people down. And, these freedom groups are very concerned about our gradually eroding freedom because of the capabilities of technology, the fact that they can control your bank accounts, they can control where you can go, what you can do. Yeah, so, it is a serious issue, and I think people should really be standing up more for it. I really admire groups like Action for Canada who are actually looking at this on a national level in Canada, and I'm sure you have groups like Rare Foundation in the United States who do the same thing.
Alexei, please continue. I know you had another point or two, but please continue.
The second point is that in terms of the environment, you have 90 major cities in the United States that have large populations and commercial industries and such. And what they are doing is every year between June and the end of September, they are operating massive numbers of air conditioning equipment, throwing hundreds of millions upon millions of BTUs into the atmosphere. If you go to New York City and stand in the Brooklyn Promenade and look out at the city in the summer, it is crusted with a hemispherical dome of dust.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And
a big heat engine.
Castle Burger's really...
What is this heat, this immense, incredible heat doing to the atmosphere here?
Oh my God.
Well, it's interesting. You have these heat domes over cities all over the world, and I'm talking about thousands of cities.
Well, we have one right now.
I had a couple of
Yeah, and in fact, it's interesting. They call Atlanta, in Georgia, they call it Hotlanta, because from orbit, when they look at it with infrared sensors, they can see it's like 7, 8, 9 degrees warmer than the surrounding countryside. So, a lot of the global warming that we have seen, and there has been some over the last century, is undoubtedly caused by these heat domes over the cities. And so people say, oh, well, do humans cause climate change? Well, yeah, around cities we do. And with enough heat domes around the world, we're probably causing some global warming as well, simply because the cities are much hotter than the surrounding countryside.
Interesting. Alexei, I appreciate your time. We're kind of, backed up as far as the number of people that are trying to jump in on the conversation, but I always appreciate you being a regular to the Dr. Sky experience. This is interesting. So many topics to talk about, but before we hit the bottom of the hour break, I wanted you to talk about, and I think this is a fascinating article. I've read it again and again from America Out Loud. You were the author. Entitled, "One of the Greatest Scams in Human History is Finally Dying." It says it all right there, but describe the, the depletion of that whole concept as far as now in 2026. What does the article talk about?
Yeah, well, I first became aware of this when the United Nations had their My World poll in 2015, and they listed 13 top priorities that they thought humans might focus on. What should we do? They polled the world to actually find out what we thought the UN should focus on. And it's interesting because the poll was set up in such a way that the first question was always climate change, okay? So this was a biased poll. There's something called the bias effect when you do polls, and you always have the one you want to be chosen by your population. You make it the first choice because people are more likely to choose the first one. They may not even get down to number 8 or 9 or 10. Well, even with climate change, action on climate change was the exact wording, even with that as the first question, the first priority that they listed that you could choose, climate change came dead last. And I don't mean by a little bit. It was way down the list. Out of all of these different priorities, things like a better education was actually number 1. And it's interesting because the country that supplied the most input to this poll, and I don't know why, but for some reason, Nigeria actually was responsible for 26% of the over 9 million votes. They got over 9 million votes from all countries and groups and genders and education levels.
That's surprising, yeah.
Yeah, but regardless, what they found was that almost nobody cared about climate change when you actually compared it with health care and education and affordable food and protection against crime and violence. So that's when I first started to become aware. And of course, the UN took that poll off the web very quickly when it became apparent that their favorite child was not being chosen. It was being put dead last. I mean, even things like phone and internet access was rating far above climate change. And so I've been paying more attention to the polls, and what you're finding now across the world is a repeat of that. Okay, the concerns about climate change are just simply disappearing, and you see this in the Pew international polls. You see it in American polls. In Canada, you see it. Big changes where people are saying, "Oh, come on, I'm going to pay like thousands of dollars a year to have a negligible impact on climate? No, thank you." And so you look at the list here, and I'm just going down to the Pew Research Center. It conducted a study in 2025 on adults in 25 countries, and it's discovered that climate change did not appear as a primary concern at all. And so it's really declining. You know, one of the things that people may not like Trump, but the bottom line is that Trump to me is like castor oil. He may not taste good, but he does things that are really good. He does things that are really good for you. And
he's going to keep doing them because, hey, on this radio station, I'm sure if you listen, as many people do, obviously we can have criticism, but let's put it this way. I have never seen a president in my lifetime that's so steadfast on these issues, and the concept of truth, justice, and the American way continues proudly here. And maybe in Canada we can change it also up there to be truth, justice, and the Canadian way, but not to force you to be the American way. But look, the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, what we're hearing here from our guest, Tom Harris, in my summation, that censorship of any kind is ridiculous. It should not be allowed. Debate should be the thing. But how do you have that kind of debate on such a very controversial topic? I mean, it could be abortion, it could be other rights, gay rights, it could be all these other subjects that are important to people. But again, how do we come to the table and have a dialogue about this in the form of a debate where we're not burning the buildings down or beating people over the head and say that it's all silenced and, settled, and you're silenced? That's horrible.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, one really good trend that's appearing is the media, mainstream media, are noticing this. Okay, they're noticing that people don't care about climate change when it comes to comparison with, peace or security or their standard of living. And so what you're finding is, at the same time as public support for the climate thing is going down, media are paying less and less attention to it. And of course, this has the climate alarmists. They're really scared because the media now are basically saying, well, look, we're a business. We want to sell our media to people. And if people are not interested in climate change, then we're just not going to cover it. And so that's what's happening. We're seeing that all across the media. There's been a massive reduction in coverage of climate change issues.
Well said.
And this is because the public are telling the media for a change, we're not interested. And I think that is a wonderful development. So we may very well win this war, not with a, atomic bomb. We may win it simply by having the media lose interest. And
Tom Harris, you say it so well. We're hitting the bottom of the hour break, as you know. We're moving through time and space. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're on the line like Max in New York City or Lou in Long Island or Tommy in the Bronx, we will do our best to get you on the air, plus everybody else that has something to opine on about our night's topic here, the great adventures that we talk about, opening our minds to some of these very important subjects. The contact number, 1-800-848-9222, and we will be right back.
Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast.
So a half an hour to go for the show. Thank you for watching. I started the live stream earlier because WFAN was going to go offline for maintenance. And it did go offline 10 minutes after midnight or so. It was only offline for about a half an hour. So I was hoping we could get a DX from it, but it didn't happen. 30 minutes offline, and then they got back on the air. So I'm just putting on Dr. Sky for the next, another half hour, and then the Dr. Sky show ends, and then I will, sign off on this live stream here. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Of course, I have my 30-day live stream going on right now. Actually, I need to go over there and update the day. So right now I'm on day 21 on that live stream. 9 days to go. So right now I'm over there. I'm playing the playlist of the CB and amateur radio listening. So I'm gonna go over there and update it. And yeah, let me go update that one. The title. And we're gonna listen to Dr. Sky.
President Trump says he's raised $23 million for the
And then once the Sky show ends, I'll probably sign off.
Donald J. Trump and John F. Kennedy.
Unless we'll see.
Controversy set in as artists and producers began cancelling their performances in protest of the president's policies and sparking a national debate about the future.
And one more thing. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Todd. He said 100. I saw it flash by. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. Yeah, I saw the GIF. Thank you very much. Also, at 2 o'clock, I noticed that TJ McCormick has not been on the air lately. I don't know if it's a permanent thing now, but Walter R. Sterling, I don't know if he's going to be on again, so I'm going to find out. You know, I'm going to leave it on until at least the start of that show. Because last weekend it was Walter R. Sterling again. So I'm curious to know what's going on with TJ McCormick. I mean, I hope he's okay. But I noticed Walter R. Sterling has been filling in for him.
Main reason that we do the show, and we started off with what you can see in the wonders of the heavens as you're now moving into this particular season of spring.
Thank you, Todd, for the gift.
Clear skies, look to the west. After sunset, the bright planet Venus adorns the sky. Just above it, the waxing crescent moon. We saw it here tonight in Arizona, and tomorrow night you can see that beautiful conjunction of objects in the sky. Jupiter high overhead, but an interesting comet known as Comet 2026 A1 MAPS. A comet discovered in Chile earlier this year may become, and I say may with a cautionary tale, become a very bright object in the west after sunset during the early portion of the month of April. It's called a Kreutz comet. What's that? A comet that broke up a long time ago in the days of Aristotle, like 371 BC. One of those particulates may come close to the sun and give us a good light show. We'll keep you posted here on the Dr. Sky Experience. Welcome back, Tom. Let's go to the callers. Let's say good morning to, on line 1, Max from New York. Thanks for your patience. How are you doing?
Thank you, Dr. Sky. Thank you for taking my phone call. I'm on to the subject of chips, and not potato chips, but the chips that will be inserted in us from the CCP. If you have a criminal, I could clearly see him cutting off someone's hand and taking the hand over to a Citibank machine and scanning in front of the Citibank machine.
Yeah. Wow. Don't let it get out of hand. No pun intended.
Jeez, you're right. That sounds like one of Larry Niven's books. You know, the science fiction writer. He has a number of books which look at these possible futures. One of them is they talk about wireheads, where people go into virtual reality and they just stay there and they starve. And so, I mean, yeah, a lot of this technology is very invasive, and we have to be careful, or we could end up with circumstances where people are killed for the chip in their wrist.
It's amazing. Yeah, Max, because you see people with their animals. We have a beautiful Bichon, a little beautiful dog, and I'm sure the dog's been chipped. I have to check with my partner. But the point is, if it's so easy for a dog to be chipped, then don't worry about it kind of thing, there obviously should be concerns, and people should have the right to object. Please continue if you're with us, Max. You bring up some good points.
Sure. I think another concern that we should have is the population of China, or a large population in China coming over here and taking up the farmland in North and South Dakota. I don't think they just want to plant grass there so they can cut it. I think this is a soft invasion. And if we are in Iran right now and we're fighting supposedly against someone who wants to do away with Western civilization, or a country that does, I think we should be concerned with it over here. that we could have a large amount of Chinese taking over land, and there's also a large amount of Muslims taking over a place in Plano, Texas, called Epic City.
Yeah, I never heard that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard that in New York City they're renaming streets, for Muslim warlords. Doesn't sound very good. But yeah, I mean, there's such a thing as benefits to multiculturalism, but we have to make sure we don't lose our core values. And, this is one of the things that really concerns me. I have 2 daughters and 3 sisters. I have no brothers and no sons. Are we going to go to a society like they have in Saudi Arabia, where, in fact, eventually women just simply don't have rights? So, I mean, or at least not equal rights. So,
well, that would be horrible,
we have to be... Yeah, we have to be careful. I mean, multiculturalism has lots of great benefits, but there's also things we don't want to tolerate. We do not want to tolerate some of the standards that are normal in these countries. So obviously, it's not my field of specialty, but I'm very concerned when I see so many people coming from countries that don't respect women, for example.
Thank you, Max. Appreciate you being part of the Dr. Sky experience. Let's go to line number 2. He's been patient. Hopefully he's with us. Lou from Long Island, you're on the air with Tom Harris. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, sirs. I love your show. Maybe off topic, but I drive a 1987 Chevrolet because I can afford a new car, but I refuse to have a car that tracks every minute and second of movement in that car. And then the data is sold to the insurance companies.
Good, Lou. I'd like to buy your car. And, before Tom responds, I just sounded a little stupid to people here, but here's my point. I think you would agree, sir. Can't they just manufacture a car with a carburetor and an engine and windows that have crank window and not all this electronic stuff? Wouldn't that be nice if we could do that, Lou? Wouldn't that be awesome? And then we could get rid of all those crazy electronics that cost so much when you go back to the dealership. Look at the windows, right, Tom? Right, Lou?
Yeah, you can't even open a bloody window.
You can't do anything. And look at the windshield. If you have a windshield you have to replace on some of these electronically calibrated cars. My gosh, we live in the asteroid belt in Arizona where rocks are all over the place. How many times am I going to replace a windshield before my insurance company says I'm doing too much and they get rid of me? Lou, you brought up a good point here. I don't want a car like that either. But what do we do? The electronic cars. Go ahead, Lou.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially the windshield. I did not know that you cannot just replace a windshield. It has to be like calibrated and all that. I did not know that. A windshield is not just replace it. It has to be like calibrated or something. It's weird. I'm like, yeah, all these cars are very, of course, they're very sophisticated, navigation and all that stuff, But yeah, it'd be nice, a old-fashioned car that just, can run without being tracked and all that other stuff. Yeah.
Every mile you drive, everything you do. What if you had to avoid somebody on the freeway and had to accelerate? What, you might be canceled because now they notice you went faster than the speed limit in some crazy bone thing? I mean, driving around like a bonehead? That's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to be chipped and monitored all the time.
No. But we might be the minority on here. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Lou, you get the last word. Go ahead, sir. You brought up something good.
Unfortunately, the way I drive, my insurance rate would go through the roof. I'm an old hot rodder.
I love it, man. Even with the price of gas, right? There you go. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Lou. Hey, on the lighter side, but on a serious side, we appreciate you. Let's continue here as we move through time and space. Line number 4. He's been very patient. Tommy from the Bronx, you're on the air. How you doing?
Gentlemen, unbelievable show. And if we went back to no electronics with cars, people wouldn't know how to get in the car or out of the car.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a problem there, that's for sure. It'd be a big traffic jam. But anyway, you brought up so much stuff with surveillance and everything and worrying about are we a surveillance society. Well, when we went to electronics, we became a surveillance society. No matter what anybody wants to know. Any bit of electronics could be traced, it could be tracked easily. But the thing is, like you're worried about surveillance, But you guys, and I never hear anybody ever talk about legal immigration coming into America from the third world every single day. Tourist visas are given to third worlders. They pack up all their worldly belongings. Who goes on vacation packing all their worldly belongings? People who aren't going to leave America, right? And the bottom line is they are winning. You could see they put out, I like to call it false advertising, like they were trying to blame like a bunch of crazy college kids who were going to elect Mommy Kami for the mayor of New York City. No, 85% of the people in New York City were foreign-born who voted for Mandani, Mommy Kami, I call him. And 1 million Muslims in New York City, they all voted for him too. So you've changed the country. I talk to people around the country and say, I'm a New Yorker. How can you people put Mommy Kami in there? I didn't put him in here. You put him in here because you supported legal immigration and you let this takeover happen. Let me give you a quick story about surveillance and everything. Right after 9/11, right? I was alerted to something, and I was told to go to Kennedy Airport and see what was going on. Now, if you remember, after 9/11, nobody was really flying anymore when they lifted it. But they took me out to the international terminal, and incoming to the international terminal were all Afghani. And the people working with customs and everything saying, we don't even know who these people are. They had the prayer mats in the corners, they were praying, hundreds and thousands came in under George Bush Jr. So they want him here. Believe me, they want him. It is no coincidence. And what they're doing is the conservative movement. People, listen, if you're conservative, they want to turn you into a minority so you have no more power. And people like Mommy Kami is going to be playing make-believe. No, make-believe during the 9/11 ceremonies. When I got to hear a bunch of open border freak politicians give speeches about 9/11, to me that's ghoulish and macabre. We lost a lot of good people on 9/11.
We did. God bless every one of them, and never forget 9/11 for all those that lost their lives across America on that horrific day. Tommy from the Bronx, thank you for bringing up these interesting points. Time doesn't permit a longer dialogue, but Tommy...
By the way, I don't even think he was in the St. Patrick's Day parade. The mayor of New York City. I don't think he was in the St. Patrick's Day parade. This is a Muslim mayor. This is a mayor that he really, truly doesn't care about. But you know whose fault is that? You people that voted for all the other stuff, free stuff, and you thought you were going to get more free stuff. Now you got a mayor in New York City that doesn't like you. He wasn't even at the parade on St. Patrick's Day. I don't remember a mayor not being on that parade, but he wasn't there.
And so here we have one.
So yeah, New York City is going to be another London. Times Square is going to turn into a big open Muslim prayer. You'll see.
That are not present in history. I mean, you look at what happened when Rome defeated Cartha? Anyway, it'll come back to me. But
the Carthaginians, right?
Carthaginians, right? They would they'd kill everybody and take the remainder into slavery. They salt the ground. There was no forgiveness, that's for sure. So, I mean, there's a lot of things in Western culture that we should recognize are superior to most of history. We should protect it. It's not. It didn't come free. I mean, a lot of people died to give us these freedoms, to give us a society which, despite its faults, is still far superior to the rest of the world. I mean, how many people are migrating out of the United States to Somalia? I mean, it just doesn't happen.
No, I understand. And all it should be this. It's a little different subject than we're talking about right now. Not just the trust but verify thing like Reagan said. But if you're bringing people in, do it the legal way so at least they can vet people, obviously some who may not want to be here and do good things. But then again, we don't want to discriminate against those that would be here to do great things. There should be that opportunity.
Right.
We'll be right back, Tom. We got to cut it short here. The clock rules on the Dr. Sky Show and all shows throughout the universe as we continue to talk with our special guest as we move to the top of hour number 2. Time flies when you're having fun. 1-800-848-9222. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is John Katsumatidis. Advertising here on WABC is just common sense. Nielsen has said that WABC is one.
All right, so we got 15 minutes left in the show. Yeah, exactly. I guess that. This mayor, St. Patrick's Day parade, biggest, if not the biggest, the second biggest parade in New York City. I think the Puerto Rican Day Parade, I think, ranks as the biggest or the second biggest. But St. Patrick's Day is up there. And he wasn't there. I don't think he was there. So you know what? You get what you vote for, people. You vote for all the free stuff, all the stuff. You got the stupid people voting for this guy, promising free stuff. And now you got a mayor that doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about, you know, I hate to say it, he doesn't care about white America. He doesn't care about all that. He only cares about his Muslim, whatever. His wife had to take down her ex account because they were finding a lot of stuff on her. The wife was they kept looking at her history, and she kept posting stuff about anti-Semitic stuff and all this other stuff. Even she was calling the black people the N-word and all that. It's clear that this woman hates people. The first lady of New York City. So they had to take down. She took it down because of pressure. Because they were finding out so many stuff about her, liking the stuff that happened on October 8th with Israel. Because you could see the people that like that stuff. When you like something and you click on the heart, it tells you how many people like it. So her name was all over that stuff. Rama, I think that's her name, Rama Mandami. Evil person. This woman is evil, people. But you guys are too stupid to see that. Now it's too late. Now he's a mayor. And that woman, they're exposing her right now for what she is. She's a hateful fucking Muslim that hates America. There you go. I said it. I fucking said it. That's right. I went there.
Dr. Sky Experience on WABC.
I don't fucking mince anything here.
A foolish faith in authority is the worst enemy of truth. A quote from the great late Albert Einstein.
Fucking anti-Semite.
37 minutes after the hour, the caller's ruled here. Let's go to line number 1. He's been patient. Let's say good morning to Len.
It's an evil woman. That's an evil woman.
With Tom Harris.
Believe me.
How you doing, Len?
Go look it up.
Thanks for taking my call. I don't really have a question. I have a comment I'd like to make about all this technology. I realize that if there is a chip under one's skin, that a whole lot of privacy could be compromised. However, I want to say I think that this could possibly be very helpful in situations that involve like kidnapping, like Nancy Guthrie's mother.
I go to the Irish parade.
Violate policy, violate privacy on one hand, I think it actually could benefit people and actually reduce crime on the other.
Never thought of it that way, but you bring up a good point. Tom, that's a pretty pragmatic thought right there.
Well, right, and maybe the best solution is to have a chip that you can turn off. That you can actually somehow switch it so that people cannot use it.
And by the way, it wouldn't shock me. On 9/11, he doesn't show up there either. It would not shock me. Okay? Dumb tool.
Walking by with a sensor, and you're
disgusting.
Passive. It doesn't actually emit calls. Doesn't emit a signal. Can it still be detected?
Disgraceful people.
So I think there are technical solutions to this, and I think you're right. There's a lot of good things about it, especially for older people with dementia and things like that. It could give them a lot more freedom to move around because they could be easily picked up if they get lost.
Len, your response as we move on, please continue. I guess Len is gone. It's interesting, but on the lighter side, not to be the funny man here, it would be a way to get people to swallow the chip if you put them in the chips. So chips in the chip.
If you look at the picture of the woman, you can tell. I'm a good judge of character. I toot my own horn on it. Look at the woman's eyes. You can see she's evil. That's an evil woman. She is evil. Personified.
750,000 were killed. They say 50,000 were taken into slavery. So, I mean, in contrast, look at how we treated Italy, Germany, and Japan after World War II. I mean, we made them allies.
So, I mean, we really are moving forward. A lot of people think the world's going to hell in a handbasket. But if you had a choice as to when you wanted to live in history, especially if you're old or if you're sick, you would choose now. And there's an interesting book, Dr. Sky, that people should look up. It's called The Other Side of History. It's on Audible, actually, and through Amazon. And what this fellow said, the historian, I can't remember his name, but it's called The Other Side of History. He says, most of history is about the generals and the presidents and the really leading figures in society. You don't hear what it's like to be a mother in ancient Rome or to be a slave in ancient Greece. You don't hear what it's like to be an average person. And at the end of the book, he goes through all these different societies. What's it like to be a knight in medieval Europe? Things like it's very, very nice book to listen to. But at the end, he says, the conclusion you come to is that, wow, we're lucky to be born when we were. Because
I guess so.
any other time in history, you might live to be 50, and that's about it. And you'd have no teeth by that age, and you have no health care, and you'd have to be carrying around weapons all the time because there's no police. So, I mean, yeah, now is a good time to live, despite all the problems the media tell us about. I'd rather live now than, in the 1600s.
Well, it's good to hear a little shot of enthusiasm and positivity here in a world that generally is talking so many of the horror things that are going on out there. But it's important that we share this information with our audience here on the Dr. Sky Experience. But in the few moments we don't have a lot of time to do it. Let's talk. We'll go out into the realm that started this particular show a year ago, talking about what's above us in the heavens. Artemis 2, we're looking now, Tom, that the potential launch date could be April 1, not necessarily that it has to launch on April Fool's Day, but being serious. This has had a lot of issues with helium leaks in the main fuel tank. They've had other issues. They had to pull it back from the launch pad, ladies and gentlemen, 39B, back to the giant building, the VAB. Supposedly the leaks are sealed. Now, what say you? I mean, any other perspective on Artemis and what it's going to do, and maybe when it gets off the ground?
Yeah, well, let's hope it goes this time because they've had so many delays. And the bottom line, though, is that there is a threat that, Dr. Willie Soon talks about. He's an astrophysicist who studies the sun. He says you realize the sun is potentially quite active over the period of their flight. So he's saying maybe they should be delaying it a little longer. I don't really know what the risk is, but I think that this is an extremely important mission. It's going to get us back to the vicinity of the moon. We're going to go further into space.
Okay, they're talking about the Artemis. Again, I'm going to go on a rant about this. This is what I did last week. The Saturn V took us to the moon in 1969. Why are we messing around with this rocket? Why not recreate the same rocket in 1969? That rocket took us to the moon. Am I wrong here? Recreate the same rocket to take us to the moon. Why are they messing around with this other rocket now? When that one can even get us to the moon. I mean, I'm sorry. Am I the only one thinking this way? Unless it was a hoax. Unless the whole moon landing was a hoax. Because right now, it's like driving a Volkswagen. I knew this one guy that he used to drive every day to Connecticut from the Bronx. He worked at a bakery in Connecticut, Arnold Bakers. He worked at a bakery factory, a bread factory. His car had 250,000 miles. And I used to ask him, why don't you buy a new car? He said, no, I don't want a new car. This car takes me to work and back. That's it. As long as this car can take me to work and back, I am keeping this car. So why not with the rocket? Why can we not recreate the Saturn V, or if it's somewhere in a museum, put it back together and launch the sucker? Why are we messing around with this Artemis shit when they can't even get us off the ground? I'm sorry, am I the only one here thinking that? Because stuff like that makes me think that I don't want to think that way, that it was a hoax.
As you were talking about a lunar landing, Artemis 4, but in my opinion, humble as it is, they need to perfect what the lunar lander geometry looks like. And the way I see it, these tall, skinny spacecraft, not to split hairs, they don't look anything like the big, wide, spidery legs, because you don't want what's going to happen like other spacecraft, that when you land, the thing tips over if it's not on level ground. So you got to figure that one out, don't you think?
Yeah, well, that's right. It looks, when you look at the Starship, you can hardly imagine it landing on its tail on the moon.
It's too long. It's like putting a sausage straight up in the air, or a pencil, and expecting it to stand there. It doesn't have the wide legs like an Apollo lander of the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, so it's the Artemis 4 that's going to actually land on the moon, is what you're saying.
That's what they're saying right now, according to the new, director of NASA, Isaacman. They've had this conversation. And again, what's the reason to race to the moon? I mean, some say China will do it and beat the Americans. Well, we've done it. Just do it safely. I'm sure that opinion resonates with listeners. Do it safely so you can have those astronauts return to their families. And again, not follow the sad path that we did when we launched the space shuttle back in 1986, that unfortunately should never have been launched due to critically cold weather. How can you launch a rocket when they're telling you don't do it, when there's ice dripping off the thing? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's very sad. I mean, the engineers told them, look, we don't know how well the O-rings are going to seal the joints in the solid boosters. Don't launch. But they were being pushed by the media. Oh, NASA's not launching it. They were saying NASA's not launching at the rate of the Ariane mission. And, here in Canada, the CBC, for example, were criticizing NASA endlessly for delaying their launches. And I finally called the newsroom, and I did get through to their producer and said, look, you're comparing it with an unmanned vehicle. Of course they're going to
again, everything the space shuttle did, we could have done it with rockets, including building the space station, the ISS. We didn't need the space shuttle. We could have just launched rockets, and done the same thing with the same payload, whatever. We could have done it with all the rockets. They built the Skylab. Before that, the Skylab was up there. Yeah, I mean, it was a small, it was a small little space station, but it was a Skylab. And the Russians had the Soyuz. So, again, it goes back to what I'm saying. Why not just bring back the Saturn V? Yeah, maybe, improve it, modifications, you improve it to somewhat today's technology. Okay. You launch that guy. That's it. Why are we messing around with this other stuff? We don't need to do this stuff. And the lander. Didn't we launch a lander that tipped over? It was embarrassing to this country. We had a lander that tipped over. And we could have, the same lander that landed in 1969, we could have used the same model. I don't know. I get skeptical when I hear this stuff, because I'm thinking, you know what? It was probably all staged. And I don't want to believe that, because that's just out there. But, this stuff just kind of goes to that argument.
A very interesting story, and so many more things. And also a retired United States Marine Corps Colonel Pilot of Cobra gunships talking with us
something
about
works.
what's
Why not
happening
keep using
in the Middle East right now, and his perspective about what's happening with America and how we're fighting this particular war. When will it end? And simply, when will gas prices return? An entire story about the latest on UFOs, a missing UFO scientist and general, I believe, running around somewhere in the state of New Mexico, a very interesting story, and so many more things. And also a retired United States Marine Corps Colonel Pilot of Cobra gunships talking with us about what's happening in the Middle East right now, and his perspective about what's happening with America and how we're fighting this particular war. When will it end? And simply, when will gas prices return? Following me, we welcome Walter Serling to another side of midnight to take you through the morning hours here on this powerhouse blowtorch, Talk Radio 77, WABC, and thanks to our helmsman, Tony and Bill, for making this show a great success. Clear skies, health, and happiness to all. We'll see you in less than 24 hours.
WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays. It's Another Side of Midnight with Walter Sterling, 77 WABC.
77 WABC. Walter M. Sterling, look at this. You arrived. We're on the great shift, the late shift. This Governor Holcomb came up with a wacky idea. She said, please move back from Florida. Return to us. Come to us. First of all, the New Yorkers who left, very few of them went to Florida, because once they go to Florida, they're like, oh my God, there's no bagels. Oh my God, there's no pizza. You want to have bad pizza? Move to South Florida. There isn't a maybe. There isn't partly. Well, there must be something good. No, what there is heat. From January to December, there is 78 to 88 degree temperature. Sounds great. There's 88 to 90% humidity. Oh. And you think you have an electric bill now? You're looking at $800-900. Oh. But then, the bonus track. Sure, there's no state income tax. And there had better be no state income tax, because they're going to need every penny to pay for insurance. Now, you figure you can get flood and property insurance and all of the many insurances, homeowner insurances. You're used to those, right? Well, you're not going to get them. Because you see, by law, if you live in Florida, you must carry homeowners insurance. You must. Then you go to the insurance companies, they say, no, we won't insure you. We won't insure you because it's flood and hurricanes. What are you talking about? No, we don't offer it. Then you find out who does offer homeowners insurance. Who does offer homeowners insurance if it's mandatory and nobody will give it to you? Answer: the state of Florida. You wind up buying all of your homeowners insurance from the state of Florida, which requires you to have flood insurance. But no insurance company is going to give you flood insurance. That's the deal. That's the secret money trap. The state of Florida asks for and demands flood insurance, which you must have by law. That's a hell of a scandal. Right up there is a soprano, a scandal. There are other exciting transactions. Every known tax other than state income tax is available to Floridians. But the best part is the crime and the challenges of living in Florida, and they're very unique. James Parker is a great broadcaster, and James covered...
No, he's right. We looked into Florida. It was around right after COVID. Governor of our state, goofy, bucktooth, beaver, Kathy Hochul, was mandating booster shots. And we were looking into Florida because they were going to do mandatory vaccine for the kids. And we said, hell no, that's not going to happen. My son is not going to get a COVID shot. Hell no. And of course, you know what happened to me? I had an anaphylactic episode shortly after I took the second one. So when we went to Florida, we found out right away that the cost of living is not that cheap. It's not that cheap. By the way, the salary is a lot. It's less there than over here. Over here, my wife makes, I'm not going to say the number, but it's comparable to what the position that she works for is. That's the rate. That's the union rate and whatever. In Florida, she will be making 2/3. It was a third less. 1/3 less. Actually, even less than 1/3. In other words, what she was making was the minimum wage here in New York State. That's what she would have made in Florida. So her salary in Florida would have been like almost the minimum. It would have been a little more than the minimum wage in New York State for a fast food worker. Even though she works at a hospital, she's what they call telemetry technician, which monitors vital signs. She would have been making the equivalent of a fast food person here in New York. And the cost of living in Florida is not any cheaper. And by the way, he's spot on about the homeowner insurance. Over here, homeowner insurance, it's not that high. It's okay. I mean, any homeowner insurance is too much. But Florida, our homeowner insurance would have tripled. Homeowners insurance in Florida is triple what we would have been paying, what we're paying here now, because of the flood stuff and the hurricane stuff and all that. So I don't think, when people tell you, oh, you can buy a house in Florida for cheap, they're lying, because the homeowner insurance, that alone, is going to skyrocket your costs. Okay? And if you live in an HOA, or, by the way, even a homeowner over here, I'm not kind of mandated to update my roof every 5 years. In Florida, every 5 years, home inspection on the roof. I think it's every 5 years. At least 10 years. When they do a home inspection, so they have to inspect the roof, things like that. Otherwise, your rate goes up. Things like that. And over here, where I'm at, there's no flood zone here. Yeah, I get a little water in the basement, but that's common. That's just a little water in the basement, like any other basement. Because, in Florida, they don't have basements. But over here, I have a basement. That's what I'm talking to you from now. I'm in a basement. So all these little costs, and by the way, gasoline is a higher tax in Florida than it is in New York State. I'm telling you. So that is a scam. So when people say, oh, you live in Florida. And another thing, by the way, one more thing. And I ran into this when I went down to Claremont, Florida. Orlando's right there. Every other person in there was from New York City or Puerto Rico. And you know what they're doing? They're bringing the same freaking values, the same voting nonsense to Florida. So don't be surprised. Before long, Florida will be a blue state. Because the people that are leaving here, they complain about here, oh, high taxes. They're going over there with the same values. And they're going to vote the same way down there. Just like what's happening in Texas. So that's when we decided, well, we're better off staying up here. Because all the dummies are going to leave the state one day. Hopefully all the dummies will leave. And the state will come back to, common sense people. And that's what's happening. So don't believe the hype about Florida. The grass is green in Florida. No, that's not true. We found out first time. We were looking at everything was like, what? You paying this much rent? The minimum wage is this low compared to New York City? No, I'd rather stay in New York City. I'd rather stay in New York. Yeah, things cost more here, but you make a lot more. You make a lot more. Some things cost more. Then you go to Florida, you make less, but things are still expensive. Yeah, I'll take New York over Florida when it comes to that. Do I like warm weather all year round? Yeah, that would be nice. For my creaking legs, my knees, when I wake up in cold weather, like I wake up like the Tin Man, need some oil on my knees. But yeah, it's not what it cut out. It's not what it cracked out to be in terms of cost of living. That is a lie.
Off, right? Yeah, it's like it bounced off it or went through it. It had no effect on it, or the balloon would pop. But this thing just kept going. A couple of pieces fell off, but it's not like they went off in different directions. They just kind of separated and then gathered back together with this thing and kept going at the same speed.
Off the coast of Yemen.
Off the coast of Yemen. This happened in 2024. So it's just a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago.
Right. So just to repeat what you said,
yeah,
the missile that hit it, was that coming from an Air Force plane or from the ground? Do you know?
I would assume it was. I don't know if the drones have those Hellfire missiles on them, or if it came from a fighter jet. But it's off the coast of Yemen, so there's no U.S. bases there. It would have come from an aircraft carrier or a fighter jet that's going through the water there. But it was it's a Hellfire U.S. missile that they decided it was hostile. Let's go after it, and the missile had no effect.
Yeah, well, more job opportunity. Now, in her case, I think it's about the same, because in her case, she's a healthcare worker, and Florida does have a lot of hospitals and healthcare, obviously because there's a lot of retirees. So when we went to Florida, the last time we went, she had 3 offers. I believe she had 3 job offers already. And she was this close to taking one of them. But the pay was ridiculously low. And it was the biggest hospital in Orlando. It was the biggest hospital in Orlando, Florida. And the pay, I'm being serious. A Starbucks worker can make more than a healthcare worker in Florida. So my belly just hit the pole. Sorry. That's how real it is. A person working at McDonald's in New York City is probably making more than a healthcare worker in Florida. Think about that. Okay? So-called essential workers in Florida. Because when they made the offer, she said, wow. She said, we were both surprised how low, when I mean by low, I'm talking about ours in terms of New York City wage. Okay? And right now, by the way, the governor's talking about, right now the minimum wage in New York State, in New York City, I think is $19 an hour or $20 an hour now. I think it went up to $20 an hour in New York City. In New York State, for the rest of the state, I think it's about $18 right now. $18 an hour or $18.50 or something. I forgot what the rate is. In New York State. New York City is $20 an hour. Right? They're talking about raising it to $30 an hour. $30 an hour. Now, of course, it's going to put a lot of people out of, they're going to have a lot more automation. If you go to a McDonald's now in New York, they have maybe 2-3 people. That's it. Everything else is kiosk. There's only one person that does the drive-through window. Is usually the manager does the drive-through window and goes back and forth with the delivery. The pickup for delivery now. The Uber, the Uber drivers and all that stuff. And does the cashier once in a while, because somebody doesn't want to use the kiosk. They have to take their order to the regular cashier. There's only maybe like 3 or 4 people at McDonald's now. Before it used to be like a few registers. It's only 1 register in McDonald's. And they really want you to use the kiosk. Just print out a receipt and they'll call your number. That's it. Yeah, exactly. So it's the opposite in Chicago. The reason why my parents did teach in Colorado and went to Chicago. I mean, did teach in Colorado, but and went to Chicago. They don't pay enough teachers yet. They don't pay teachers, and they still don't in Colorado. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That too. Now McDonald's apps, they give you huge discount. They want you to use the app. The app. They don't want you to, and exactly, they don't want you to interact with the staff. They want you to use the app. They want you to use the app first, then the kiosk. But the app, you do get discounts. Exactly. And that's every fast food place now. They want you to use the app. Burger King, all of them, they want you to use the app. They don't want you to go to the register. They want you just to go there and pick up the food. That's it. You already pay for it. Not even cash. They want you to pay for it with the app. Just go there, pick up the food. That's it. Very little interaction.
That fast.
Like zero interaction.
Probably get the bends. Whatever they saw must have been terrifying down in that. It must have been horrifying.
These just weren't professional divers. These would be the Russian version of Navy SEALs.
Whoa.
They were their best divers.
Right. It must have been terrifying. Unbelievable. Now, the other divers, did any of them make it up? Did any of them get up?
Yeah, quite a few of them did. Not all of them died. Some of them did make it.
Well, I wonder what they revealed.
Well, we might explore a little bit of that in the episode. I'm not sure. We'll see.
No, we're looking forward to that. It's a mystery.
Yeah.
Robert Clotworthy, any other news about the upcoming season of Ancient Aliens?
We're right in the middle of production. We've done about 7 or 8 episodes. We've got, I think, another 10 or 12 to do for this season. I know we're going to be going to Africa, which is going to be fascinating. That's a continent we haven't really explored on the show very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing that script and seeing what it's all about, because it's going to be fascinating, I'm sure. But we got and they're already talking about a season 19.
Which brings me to the next point. When you get up to season 19 and you are the driving voice of a hit television show, I hope those are good Christmases from the History Channel. I mean, I hope those are beyond gift baskets.
I tell you, I've never even been sent a coffee cup, so it's okay. I'll take the job over the over the swag any day. It's good.
Well, we respect you. You have fans. You're the only announcer I know of who has fans that show up at the con festivals for science fiction. What's the name of the cons for your show?
Alien Con.
Yeah, sorry, stupid, of course. Alien Con. But there are no other announcers that show up for any TV show that are asked to, but there you are. A draw, a line, the announcer for Alien Con. That's a big deal, Robert. You should be proud of that.
It kind of tickles me. It's kind of funny. I imagine it's kind of what Rod Serling experienced during the shows of Twilight Zone, where he was really a character on the show. He was part of it. And that's kind of what I try to do. When you do narration, for me, I'm a part of the show. I'm a character in the show, which means that I am part of the cast. I'm not just an observer, just spitting out lines. No, I'm intimately involved.
Absolutely. And you narrate that way. It's as though you're sitting there with us, watching the show with us, and explaining what's going on. Best narrator in American television. Robert Clotworthy, thank you very much for being on the Red Apple Audio Networks, Another Side of Midnight with Walter Sterling. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Walter.
You bet. It's, let's see, look at that. Look at that. Hey, Tony, Bill, look at that. I timed the thing correctly. Is that a thing of beauty? I don't hear any of these other hosts do anything like this. You and I can talk at 800-848-9222. It's a live line on the Red Apple Audio Networks, 800-848-9222. And coming up, Ross Coulthart from News Nation will have an update on the Major General that disappeared 10 days ago. The Major General that was walking around in his brain with the most dangerous thing he could have, all of the secrets of the military about UFOs, UAPs, extraterrestrials, aliens, where they're hidden. This guy had them all. And then he went for a walk, what was it, 10, 12 days ago, and he disappeared. He left without his cell phone. Have you ever done that? Left without his watch. Have you ever done that? But he left with his service revolver. Walter Sterling on the Red Apple Audio Network's Another Side of Midnight in just seconds.
It's Another Side of Midnight with Walter Sterling. This is the Worldwide News Network. Extra. Costco, the membership-only big box warehouse club, is partnering with a New Jersey-based fertility network to offer low-cost care to customers across America. Assisted reproductive specialists from RMA Network will work with Costco to provide widespread access to fertility services to those who face barriers. I'm James Flippin, and this is the Worldwide News Network.
What if the future of finance wasn't built around averages, but around you? At Abacus Global Management, we're reshaping financial planning around the most...
All right, I'm gonna sign off now. If you want to listen to this program, you can go to WABCRadio.com or download the WABC app to listen to this program on streaming. I'm gonna sign off now because I've been out for 3 hours, and I'm gonna call it in. I'm gonna just relax for a while. So thank you everybody for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you later on today. And thank you, Todd, for being here. And thank you, T-Ray N72, Tasso, Chicopee Radio, and thank you everybody for being here. And of course, my other live stream is still on. I'm on day 21, 9 days to go. I just played it. I just got a new playlist up. I just put the playlist on that one. That one right now is showing radio beacons and fax transmissions. That's the playlist that's playing right now there. I just queued it up right now. So that one has long wave beacons and transmissions right now. That's going to be playing for the next few hours. So everybody, thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Bye-bye.